Yeah, it does help, doesn't it?
Yeah. Then I do need... Did you announce on Twitter as well?
Yeah, well, I did yesterday.
Did you announce on Twitter as well?
Yeah, well, I did yesterday when I sent it out.
Okay. You haven't silenced yes.
I did. I just did now, so you don't hear that echo.
Let me see.
Yeah, let me see. I'll go ahead up on
YouTube
Twitter.
Address.
Anybody watching us right now, we're just setting up. That's why it's starting soon. Just ignore our silliness as we get things set up. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to tweet this out.
Now, where do I find the stream?
There should be a share link there.
Where?
Oh, in the Twitter, if you've got that, or YouTube, if you've got the...
I'm going through Twitter, but I'm like 4 pages down already.
Oh, you got Slack turned off too? So here, I'm going to tweet it
out.
out.
No, it's on my laptop, so it doesn't matter if it's there. I just need to, in that case, I need to
switch over.
Transfer a link from the one end to the other. Okay, let's see. From the one end to the other.
This was you that time.
Yeah, but except I wanted to copy the link, except Twitter then just opens the stream, and I don't want to open the stream. I wanted to have the link to the stream.
Yeah.
So what a channel or something.
Hold on just one sec. You'll get it on Twitter here in a second too, because I'm tweeting it out, and then you can grab it there.
You're a star. Yeah, because Twitter creating short links for everything, which overlay the short link from YouTube, really does not make life easier.
Right. Okay, just went out the tweet, so. And I had earlier put it into the core-php channel too in the Making WordPress Slack. So just remind folks.
I did see that. I'm not seeing it in my mentions yet. Then again, you may not mention me.
I mentioned you. Are you kidding me? Let's make sure I mentioned the right person. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, except... Yeah, this is one. It's an auto-expand link, which okay. This is not going to work because I can't copy this link.
There you go. I put it in in the private message to you in Twitter too, if you've got that open. Since I know that one's probably open on your PC. There.
Yeah, that's going to do exactly the same thing. Except that there I can actually copy the link location.
There you go.
Hey. Good.
Twitter URL technical issues.
Yeah, this is fun. And now to get it to the live stream, because it still says starting soon.
Yeah, it does. It'll be done in a second. That was just you and me setting up. And then
okay.
And then that'll be done. Hold on.
I can see chats.
Boom. Now we're live.
Okay.
You and me. Right,
sorry. We're live.
Hey everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Set up.
Just so in case you don't know us, I'm Tonya and that's Juliette. Oh, the other way. That's Juliette. My camera's reversed. So what we're going to be doing today is about every other Friday, we get together and we pair a program on PHP types of issues in WordPress, right? So today we're going to continue working on what we were doing last time, which is we're working on fixing the method parameter name mismatches between the child and the parent class. So we're just going to continue working on that. Jonathan says Juliette is echoing for some reason. Say something, Juliette.
Jonathan? I hope I'm not, but there shouldn't be a reason for an echo at this moment. But we'll see. You don't hear the echo, Tonya, do you?
I'm not hearing the echo.
No.
Yeah, he says unfortunately yes.
If Jonathan comes back and to us, whether I'm still echoing.
He said unfortunately yes, you're still echoing.
I really don't know what to do.
I'm not hearing it. Now, we had an echo. Maybe might be a few seconds behind us. You had an echo when it first came up. Remember, because you were playing the YouTube video and at the same time listening to me. Let's give him a second. Hey, Jonathan, we're going to give it like another 10 seconds and then tell us if you still hear an echo. Of course, she has to say something besides just me.
Okay, I was actually just looking up a report which we're going to be using in a minute.
Yeah.
Which isn't, where there isn't a public copy of at this moment. But I thought it would be useful if I could open it up before we start.
Yeah, go for it.
So, yeah. That's what I was looking up.
Let's see. By the way, anybody watching this is us working, right? So what you see is what you get from us.
Today.
Yeah. Once we get working, this is just you're joining us as we're doing our pair programming. But at the same time, if you have a question or you want to join into the discussion, you got the live chat right there. We're monitoring it. We're watching it. Go ahead and ask us a question. If you got a question, can you put a Q, question in front of it, and that will draw our eyes to it to go, we need to answer that. If you want to join in the discussion about we're working on something and you want to contribute to that, great, let us know. Just go ahead and comment and we'll join in with you. Also, if there's something we need to explain better, we will take the time when we're working on things to stop and try to explain, anticipate maybe what you might be thinking a question might be. So we'll take the time to actually stop and answer some of those things too. Okay. There, that's the opening of the show. Can I just pre-record that and I'll just play it every time?
Yeah, but then the next time the people will go like, hang on, you switch flows between opening and now.
Don't people hear that? Observe it.
Switch flows without leaving your desk and without embarrassing people while you're doing it.
Yeah, the magic of pre-recording.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. As I said, this is us. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Hey, Jonathan, if you're still there with us, is it still echoing? I'll give him a few seconds here to come back to us. I'm going to go ahead and share the link to the PR and the ticket that we're working on so folks know too.
While you do that, I will update my local branch.
He said, had to step away. Juliette, can you say something? Go for it.
Okay. In the meantime, while Tonya is getting the link to the ticket, I'm updating my local branch, Git branch, Git copy of WordPress, and then I will rebase that PR we worked on last time. Because obviously things have changed in WordPress, so we want to make sure that if that patch gets accepted, it's properly up to date with the latest version of WordPress. So I'm just quickly rebasing that in the background.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay. 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 Let's see
And
he's saying you're still echoing. Huh. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to switch over to a different sound and see if I can hear it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead. It's very weird. Tonya is 100% fine. Well, thank you.
We all know that Tonya is fine. Of course, she's a fine person. What do you expect?
Gosh,
Tonya,
what a great compliment first thing in my morning. Yeah, I'm not hearing the echo. That is really weird. Huh.
I'm not hearing the echo either, and I'm thinking it might not even be on my end. It might be on your end.
That's why I'm switching to a different, and I'm not hearing that either. Okay, let me take a look at the controls. Bear with us. He said it's gone.
Ah, no. That's good. Okay.
Yay!
Let's hope it stays that way.
That's it. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. if for no other reason than to solve technical problems at the start.
Yeah. I wonder if I introduced it because I was listening to the sound. I was sending the sound back into my mixing board and then bringing it back out again. That might have been me. Okay, so by switching it back over, I'm going to guess.
That's the kind of thing which we do it.
That's like the only thing that I did was say, well, I'm going to change it over to here. Okay, so it was me. Lesson learned.
Okay.
All right, let's get to work, daggone it.
Yeah. You were going to open and share the link to the core ticket.
Yeah, hold on one sec.
We may also want to share the link to the Git PR, which is...
I did that. That's in the chat now. Mm-hmm.
In that case, I've done the local rebase. I'm going to force push now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Because this is a force push without any changes to the open PR.
Okay.
And all it does is update it to the current WordPress master.
Okay, that sounds good.
So it just rebased it on top of the current WordPress master.
Okay.
So at least we're working on the latest version of WordPress.
All righty.
Okay. And do you want to, for the people who didn't see last week's episode or last session,
yep.
Do you want to talk through what this is all about?
Yeah. Do you want to go through or you want me to?
Either way, I mean, it's a ticket I opened 9 months ago.
I'll let you go for it. I'm going to switch back to us side by side.
It basically, in PHP 8, name parameters were introduced, and that gives us a job to do. On the one hand, we have to make sure that all the parameter names in public methods and functions in WordPress actually are sensible names. That is a huge job, which nobody's even started looking at.
That's right.
On the other hand, parameters can use reserved keywords as the name. So you can have a parameter called string in a function. But if you use that in the syntax of a name parameter, it will look really weird because it will look like a type hint, like you're type hinting in a function call. And that is going to be confusing for people. So as part of the review of all the parameter names, we should make sure that parameter names which use reserved keywords in PHP, and there's only something like 40 or 60 reserved keywords anyway, so it's not that big a list, should not be used. There is a list of those parameters already available. They just need to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the track ticket. There's a link to a gist there with the last time I scanned, which was something like 3 weeks ago, probably. And then the third thing, if you have a parent method, a parent class, and you have a child class in which methods from the parent class are being overloaded, the parameter names used in the method in the child class and the same method in the parent class have to match. That really can also be problematic if it's not done. That last part is what we've been working on. And obviously going through the whole of WordPress to find parent classes and child classes would be a humongous task. So I'm going to quickly share screen, if that's okay with you, Tonya?
Yeah, go for it. And I'll pull that up here in a scene. So everybody, this is new software still that I have not played with much. So, it takes a minute for me to figure out how to use it.
Okay, so
not us.
What you should be able to see now is...
Hold on, it's not there yet, so I got to bring it in.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to go back to live mode. Hold on one sec. Technical issues.
No technical issues. Just delays and through the technical stuff. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so what you can see now is I've gone to the Exacat website, exacat.io. Exacat is one of the static analysis tools available to PHP. In contrast to a number of other static analysis tools, it's not primarily written in PHP. It's written primarily in Go, if I'm correct. It's maintained by Damien Segui, who's my dear friend and core contributor to PHP Core. And this tooling can be run locally. You can run it yourself. You can, but as the environment is slightly different from what you may be used to for a PHP project, it takes a little setting up. So you can do a trial run with Exacat, get a trial report if you go to free trial, which is the page I'm on now. And if you scroll down on that page, you can see there are actually some very commonly used and big applications which have free reports available, created by Exacat. So you can get a feel for what these kind of reports look like. So WordPress is there at the top. The downside of this report is the audit date, which is October last year. And hey, we're nearly 3 majors since that version of WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
What was it, 5.6, and we're nearly at 5.8 now. So I have two majors.
Yep.
So this report is slightly out of date. But as I say, my dear friend Damien, it's been absolutely awesome. When I told him we were working on this ticket, he said, I'll update the report for you. So I have an update here. And that's a local copy. So unfortunately, I can't give you access to it, at least not the public. But that one is from last week. So that should give us better information to check if something, the original patch we were looking at was created by me 8 months ago. Well, 2 majors ago, things have happened in WordPress. I changed what was correct incorrect at the time, but new child classes may have been introduced, new inconsistencies between child and parent classes may have been introduced. So we need to go through the difference.
Right.
We're using this report because manually going through the whole of WordPress, checking this for parent and child classes is a nightmare. Is basically undoable.
Right.
So having static analysis tools available like Exacat is absolutely awesome. And if you use static analysis tools for your project or for your own company, please give Exacat a go. It's really worth it. It is a valuable tool on your tool chain. And have a look at it.
Yeah, definitely. You got a link there that you can, at least just to exacat.io, that you can drop in?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Let me just copy the... I need to sign into chat. So how do we do this?
Into the YouTube chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Might need to be signed into YouTube, I'm guessing. Here, let me grab it.
Basically,
It's a cat.
cat.io/en/free-trial/.
Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay, here it is. Oh. Okay, I shared it.
Excellent. Thank
There
you
we
for
go.
doing that. And thank you, Damien, for giving us an updated version of the report. And your help is much appreciated.
Thank you, Damien. Yay.
Right. Shall I
Okay.
go to the report which I used to create the original patch?
Yeah, go ahead.
In this case, I go to compatibility. I go to PHP 8. And you can see a number of places where it has issues. Some of those are false positives, but I mean, that's always the case with static analysis tools. You can't analyze everything. So if something like one of the removed constants, that constant might be either polyfilled by WordPress or used conditionally in such a way that the removal notification will never be hit.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I actually verified those. The report we want to look at now is the mismatch parameter name one, which is the biggest one anyway.
Yeah.
So here it explains a little about what the issue is. Shall I just leave it up on screen for a moment so people can
absorb?
I should probably zoom in a little so it's a bit clearer to read.
Yeah. Folks on smaller devices can see it.
Yeah, except where's it gone now? It's because I made the screen better to read. Now suddenly it skipped position. So now I need to find the name parameter bit again. Nope.
Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. Unknown parameter name. There's a mismatch. Mm-hmm.
So this is the bit about why and what the problems are when you have parent and child classes with mismatching parameter names.
Okay, so this is a really good thing to look at here, folks. Notice that by using something like this, it's going to help us to be able to narrow down and figure out where we need to focus our efforts. Okay. Now, what you'll notice when you come into that PR that I shared earlier up in the live chat that we're working on, that PR is going in and it's taking a look at each of the child classes that are extending off of a parent, and you'll start to see that there's differences sometimes in the name and or sometimes in the type that's being used as well as sometimes also in the comments that's going on too. So we take a look across the board at all of that to make sure that there's a good match that extends off that parent. Now, because of that, there's going to be some differences. Like we may have a parent's going to be more generic. Has to be, because things are going to extend off of it and have much more concrete, such as now it's a post, now it's a term, now it's something else. But the parent has called it a name, right? A specific name. And then we bring it into the child. We're going to need that same name so it matches there. But then the type can also be much more specific when we get into that child as well.
Hang on. Sorry, I need to interrupt a little here.
Sure, go for it.
The two additional things. One, we also need to make sure that, the parent has a generic name, but we also need to make sure that's not a reserved keyword then, because that's
absolutely.
often the case. But the second bit there is that what we found last time and what is absolutely problematic, but not something we're going to solve now, is about those mismatching parameter types. I mean, they're not type hinted, the no type declaration for the parameters. But if you look at the doc block, the child class overloaded methods often have more specific types than the parent. And that's a violation of Liskov's principle, and it's not allowed. As of PHP 7.3, if you have type declarations, PHP will warn you about this.
Yes,
it will tell you that you're doing it wrong. So WordPress, by default, is doing a lot of this wrong.
Right.
We are not going to fix all of WordPress now.
No.
So we're not going to address that. We're just, at this point, focusing on the names.
Right.
The fact that the Liskov principle is violated, that child classes have more specific instead of less specific types for parameters, is problematic in itself, but needs a separate consideration and a separate ticket to be addressed. And it would be a big BC break to address that. So more than likely than not, it should probably be addressed when it is time at some point in the future to refactor that part of the code base of WordPress.
Right.
And not fixed now.
Right.
No matter how problematic it is.
Right. And at the same time, when you work on a PR, you want to be very focused on what you're doing in that PR and not to start to bring in all these other changes as well, right? It makes it very difficult if we start to have many, many, many different types of changes that are not related to a specific task. That code reviewer going in, the history of the changes and so on become much more difficult. So we tried to stay very targeted. Here we're dealing with the mismatch of the names and fixing those. The types, as she's talking about, we're going to go back later and take a look at those. That will be a separate task that gets done outside the scope of what we're doing here with this particular PR. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we set things up pretty well. So,
Okay, I think everyone's had time to read what was up on screen with the code samples. So let's now look at the actual report. 71 warnings, and they're all listed here. Isn't it wonderful?
Yippee!
And this is obviously based on master, so it doesn't include the patch. We just have to make sure that everything what's in this report is addressed by the patch, and that there's no new things which have been introduced and which need to be fixed up.
Right. We do have one more task to do today too, Juliette.
Give me 1 second.
Sure, go for it.
What I also want to do is, if I look at the online report, and that's probably where we should start, and we look at the mismatch parameter name report there, that was also 71 warnings. So chances are, as they're both the same amount of warnings, that no new issues were introduced in the past 8 months, which would be a good thing.
Crossing our fingers.
Yes. So go for it, Tonya.
The other thing we need to do too is, after discussing with some different folks, because the child class's naming is changing in the parameter, in most of the cases, we then right below that went and reassigned it back to a more specific name for readability, and it also keeps the code below it the same. We want to be able to do that across the board in all instances, even when it's small. That way, for understanding and context, it remains the same. That was kind of something that was pointed out by one of the leads. So if we can do that as well, that will help us out.
Yeah, on the one hand, I very much agree with the rename. At the same time, someone is going to wonder, why is that rename being done when there's no actual value to the rename? Yep. So if we do that rename, we need to add a comment as well.
Absolutely.
And then why are we doing it? Because, I mean, if we need to add a comment to explain why we're renaming at the beginning of the function, then maybe we shouldn't do the rename in the first place.
Well, actually, one of the conversations that's been going on is using the code base as an educational tool. So teaching and adding comments that add value for teaching folks and sharing context of why. Why are we doing this? So with that kind of makes sense then to do the rename, provide that context, keep that name the same, and then adding a comment in as to one, it also helps so that the parameter name doesn't get reverted back, right? So now you've got a comment in there as to why that's happening, why it's then being reassigned back. It kind of helps in both cases because I do worry about future. All of a sudden we forget about this.
There's no way we can prevent it from being reverted back anyway. Mm-hmm. If someone decides to do a change, there's nothing blocking it at the moment. Mm-hmm. We don't have static analysis tools in CI in place which would be able to catch this.
Right. Here,
there's nothing blocking there, and that is worrisome, which means that we will need to keep an eye on this report, and we need to educate people about name parameters.
Right.
So when we add those comments, I think we should very much add a link or a track reference to the ticket about name parameters so people can read up and learn about not touching this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just pulled this back up here so folks can kind of see the conversation that went on behind as we were trying to get consensus around what's happening here in the naming. One of the things is to come in and add this inline comment to all the instances. I know it's going to look odd, it's going to look weird. That's why you put the comment in to explain what's going on. There's also then consistency across the board that all of them have the same pattern to them versus just some where they're longer in the code, which was the path we went on last time. It made sense. The code is longer, and if you changed it in every single spot, that's a lot of code that got changed that had to be reviewed and committed. Was kind of our thinking around that. This time around, it's retaining the context and the readability and then putting in the comment in to explain why. Now, I understand it's going to look weird, but at the same time, it also still, in my opinion, looks weird as to why are we using such a generic name across the board. That in itself kind of looks weird. Why the change is needed. So it's a compromise there for teaching people. So, okay. I'll switch back to your report. Hold on one sec.
Oh, I actually...
It's you!
Sorry.
Daggone it.
Yeah, while you were explaining this, I quickly...
Oh, you pulled it down? Okay.
Well, no, I'll pull it back up. But I quickly had a look at Twitter because someone was pinging me.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, not your turn. You can happy to look at whatever you're asking me to look at after the stream. Not now.
Not now. I'm busy right now.
Either way, I've pulled the report back up.
Okay. I'll switch to that one.
Let me just make things a little bit more complicated. I have the old report.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, my share should be the whole window.
Yep.
Now, if I have the old report and the new report next to each other, then we should be able to compare to see if there's differences. Except it looks like the order may be, the file order may not be the same. In which it's, yeah, we'll need to go through it. We'll just need to go through it.
Yeah, we'll just go through. Why not?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. In that case, I should also pull up the ticket here on GitHub.
There you go.
Let's do an ego search because that'll get me to the ticket quicker. Right. Okay, so this is the current ticket with all the commits. And we should be able to look at the commits and look at the report to make sure that it matches.
Yeah.
Putting it back in. Where do you want to start, Tonya?
We can start. Absolutely. So,
But where do you want to?
Where do you want to start? Well, I'll let you pick where you want to start at. How did you walk through it last time? Did you just start at the top and go through, or?
Yeah, except the obviously, I think so, but the order obviously has changed.
Has changed, yeah.
And
it's gonna make it fun.
Plus, oh, hang on, this is sorry. I know what's going on. It's the order may not have changed.
Oh wait, yeah.
This is not showing the right report yet. And that was a bug in the old version of Exocad. So I need to actually go here. And go to the report in a different way. That's what. Luckily, I'm familiar enough with Exocad to be able to find it.
I was going to say I'm just now looking at it today, so yeah.
Now where is it? It was called mismatch parameter name. Yeah. Okay. So this is the. Please. Yes, and okay. So if I look at the top one, that's in admin, and it's the terms table, and here the top one is in includes, and admin is later. So the order is still different. But at least we've narrowed it down to the right report now.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Let me pull it side by side again. Hey, sorry. That shouldn't come up. Right. So if I use the latest report as a guideline and pull up the same bit on the old report, then we can at least compare if both are addressed.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, this is REST API.
Okay, now you got to look over there.
But again, it's still not the same order. Let me see if I can I sort it in some way?
Yeah.
I can filter by file, but I don't think I can sort this.
Yeah, I'm going through on mine too. I'm not seeing this sorting.
Okay, let's then just go through the new version of the report, because and just go through. I mean, the commits are all marked by the class names, by
right.
which are underlying anyway by the parent class, basically.
Right.
So we can just go through the report and check if all of these are addressed.
Yep. I think that's probably going to be.
Look at the top, those all look to be REST API classes which extend from the same parent. It's the prepare item for response function, and you can very easily see why it's being flagged, because all of those have a different first name for the first parameter.
Right. Does everybody see that as you're looking at that? I mean, that's the problem here, is that you've got a parent that has a particular name for the parameter, and then the child classes in those methods have a different name.
Yeah.
That's going to be problematic. They need to match.
So let's first go through the report, make sure that everything what's in the current report is covered. Then we know that the PR is still up to date. And then we'll go through each commit individually and add those comments about the renames and add renames if needed.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's probably trying to switch back and forth between the two different reports is just not gonna be easy. Yeah.
No, but it's not going to be helpful either.
Yeah.
Okay, so this first one, all of this is this whole screen so far is about basically the WP REST controller prepare item for response method. And there is a separate commit for that. Unfortunately, having that on the screen at the same time makes things not as easy to read. But let's have a look if we can match all the names. Okay, so the first one is REST post types controller. REST post types controller.
Right
the second one is statuses. Third one themes controller. REST attachments controller. REST taxonomies controller. REST revisions controller. REST search controller. REST block types controller. Block directory controller. REST user controller and a REST comments controller. And then I still have the post controller and autosaves. Yeah, autosaves are here as well, yes. And do I see the post one? Well, let's mark the autosaves one at least in the...
because you found that one, right?
Yeah. Yep. Let's just make life easy on myself. Highlight. Here, okay, so here we go. The post REST post controller is there as well.
That one as well. Now, are there any new?
Other no, those are they're all the ones which are in the commit are marked in the report, and the report matches basically the commit. As you know, in this commit we're only addressing one thing, that is all those child classes and possibly the parent class which are used to prepare item for response method.
Right.
Nothing else gets addressed. So as we know, only that particular function declaration is addressed in this commit, which is an atomic commit because of that.
Right.
We can trust that if every single file in the report matches the files which are in this commit, that we're done. It's okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to close this commit.
Next.
And we're going to move to the next one, which is also REST API.
Okay.
And that's get parent. So I think if I look at the commits, that'll be the REST revisions controller get parent. So let me just do a similar trick and do a search for get parent. Make sure they're all highlighted. So how many files should we get? One. At least one should be addressed. Yes. So let's look at the commits.
Ooh, your audio just went boo-boo on us. It's got a high squeal.
I'm sorry. We're still here now?
Yeah, you're muffled and it's a very high squeal. Let me see.
That is weird.
Yeah. Say something.
Something?
Yeah. Stinker. Yeah, it's still squealing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I didn't change anything, so...
Yeah, it was right after you coughed. It kind of went...
Shall I just mute myself and unmute?
Mute yourself and unmute. Yeah, see if it goes away. No, it didn't go away.
honestly don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm looking here. There, now say something.
Try something again.
There you go. It's okay now. I muted it from my end. That must have reset it. So, yeah.
Okay, I actually toggled to a different microphone and then back to the original microphone.
We probably did it at the same time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, back to where we were working on. REST API, the get parent method from the revision controller. There's only one file which got flagged, and that file is addressed in the commit which we had for it. So that's fine. So we keep scrolling down the report. Yes, all of that was done. Prepare item we already done.
We already did.
So now we're at sanitize.
Sanitize.
There's one report of it. Now let's look at look at the commits. There's one commit which is related to it. It does include that file, but it also actually includes the parent class. And things moving off.
It might be that we gave it a better name or did something with it.
Well, no, this is just comment alignment.
Oh, okay, good.
Girl Scouting while we were looking at the file anyway. So this is fine, and this is addressed. So the next one, again, in the same scope, it's validate. Let's look at the commits. One file in the commits, and the file is the CSS setting file, so we're fine.
Yep, that one's good. Next.
The next one, I should do a search in the report to make sure it is the only one. But it is.
Yep.
And I expected that. So the next one is function update. Now for update, we actually have two different instances where we need to look at. So we have
widgets.
Update method in the customized settings, and we have an update method in widget. So here with 2014, we can see that's widgets. This is also widget. Okay, so the one we were looking at originally is to do with customized settings. And yeah, that file is being addressed correctly already by the commit, which is set for that. So we're good.
Yep.
Start EL is the next method we're going to look at. And there is 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. Well, we need to go through this.
There's 10 of them total.
Okay. So there's actually two commits which deal with this because there's two different issues there. You have the first parameter, the second parameter, which is often different. Look here, category, comment, page. But also the last one, ID, current page.
Yep.
So those are being addressed separately in separate commits. This is the file list of the first commit. Let's see, Walker category drop down.
Right there.
Walker comment.
There.
2020 Walker page.
Walker page, yep.
And I've verified that what's off screen actually says Walker page.
Good.
To make sure.
And then there's Walker category checklist.
Yeah. Walker categories.
There it
checklist.
is. The next one is Walker. Yeah,
edit. And then nav menu checklist.
Right.
Okay.
And then Walker category.
Yeah.
That one. Scroll down, scroll down.
And then the last three, and that's image editor, GD. Hey, that might be a new one. Walker nav menu and Walker page. And I don't see Walker page drop down at the moment.
Let me go back and look here. We got page. Walker page drop down is there.
Oh, actually, yeah, it is.
Yep.
Why? Well, oh, I was looking. Sorry, I was cross-eyed.
Yeah, it's the one above the GD.
Not new. We're actually talking about Walker dropdown, and then the WP Walker class, which is also in this commit, is the parent class.
That's the parent.
So, and the reason that is in this commit is because the parent class used a reserved keyword for the parameter name, which we want to get rid of. So the parent class also had to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So this commit is, and the whole start EL is fine, basically.
Can you show, just because you brought up that the keyword, that's the first time that we've said, a keyword was used. Can you kind of show that for folks?
Yeah, of course. Let me just pull up the commit again.
That was in the parent.
Here we go. This is the parent class. So this is the declaration for the function in the parent class, and it used the word object.
Object. There you go.
And object is a soft reserved keyword, but it's more importantly, it's also a valid type declaration in PHP. So if you use object in a function call as the name for a parameter, people will do a double take when they read that. The cognitive comprehensibility of that kind of code is higher than it needs to be. We don't need to make code more difficult to read just to use the word object. I mean, there's only, as I said, something 40, maybe 60 reserved keywords in PHP. We can find better words to use for those 40 to 60.
I wonder too if folks are wondering, what does this mean? This when we're using the parameter names and to be able to call, they may not be aware of in PHP 8 how we can do that. Maybe pull that up so people can see.
Yeah, well, that's actually in the original track ticket.
It is. Yep.
Let me find that ticket.
It is 51553.
Okay, 51, you said? 51?
Yeah, 51553.
553, okay. Because obviously there's a code example here.
Yeah.
So this is calling the PHP native function array fill with positional arguments, with named arguments, and with named arguments in a different order than the positional arguments, because that's what you can do with named arguments. The problem here is when you would use object here, people will first thought will be like, hang on, that's a type declaration. Except it's not. In that case, it would be the name of the parameter. So it just confuses people to read a reserved keyword, which can also be used as a type declaration or as the name of a parameter. And we want to prevent that confusion. We want to keep code readable and easy to comprehend. So that's why we should avoid that.
Right. So for folks to understand what's happening in PHP 8 is we can, instead of having all of your arguments being positional, you can actually name which one of those parameters that you're trying to pass that value or inject into. So that's what we're talking about here, is because now in PHP 8 plus, we can say, I want this to go into this. I want this to go into there. We don't have to list out all of the specific parameters in there when we're passing it along. So just in case you weren't sure.
You don't have to list optional parameters anymore. You do still have to list all required parameters, but you don't have to list them in the order they were declared. You can declare, as long as you name them, you can declare them, pass them in any order.
Yes.
But yeah, that also means that if a function has 2 required parameters and 3 optional ones, and then a 4th optional one at the very end, and you only need to use the 4th optional one. With positional arguments, like any time before PHP 8, you would have to pass all 6 arguments and use the proper default value from the function declaration for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th argument. So you could change the 6th one. Now with named arguments, we can just pass the first 2, which were required, and then pass the 6th one with its name, by name, and then we can skip the 3rd, 4th, and 5th argument because they're optional and will default to their default value anyway. And that, I can understand the use case for it. It's the problem with this just is that it's really frustrating this hasn't been made opt-in, because now by a language change, the API of every single public repository, library, open source project in PHP world has been made, parameter names have now been made part of that public API. And not by choice of the project, but by a choice in the language.
Right.
And even what we're doing now is a BC break. We are breaking backward compatibility, which is a huge no-no in WordPress. But by making the changes we're making, on the one hand, we're fixing compatibility with PHP 8, but we're breaking backwards compatibility because of PHP 8.
Correct.
Because we're changing parameter names. If people would have already started to use name parameters, their function calls might now break. Because we're changing parameter names, and changing a parameter name is now part of your public API, and therefore a BC break.
Yep.
And that is hugely problematic.
Right.
To be quite honest, WordPress doesn't officially support name parameters yet. And if I'm really honest, I think it probably won't for the next few years. So please do not use name parameters in your code yet, whether it's public plugin code or in-company private code. Please do not use public name parameters yet in your code for PHP 8, because there are bound to be more changes to come until this ticket has been fixed completely.
Finished.
In other words, we've reviewed every single function declaration in the public API in WordPress for having sensible parameter names. Until that time, name parameters aren't supported.
Right. We may also need to go and adopt what some of the other open source projects are doing. I did an audit looking at what's Drupal doing, what's Joomla doing, what's Laravel doing, what's Symfony doing, and they're adopted for things like this that they can't promise backwards compatibility for things like this. And then they're listing that out. So there's actually a clause that they're putting in. We may come back to that when it comes time to adopt the name parameters, that we need to look at that obviously it's not going to be backwards compatible if you've already been using it in your projects at that point, right? Until we're done.
Yeah, the whole problem is when doing that review, if you do the review like we're doing now, after PHP 8 has come out and people could have started using it already, it's a BC break. And that again reinforces the point I was making. I do not agree that a programming language should have the power to determine whether something like this is part of your public API for an application.
Yeah.
It should have been optional. This should have been. It should even have been opt-in.
Yes, I agree.
Except it's not. And unfortunately, that means we just have to deal with it.
Exactly.
No matter how we feel about it, no matter how much it frustrates us that stupid decisions like this were taken, it is what it is. And I do understand the value from an end user point of view. As a maintainer, this is just impossible. I mean, I personally am involved in 20 plus open source projects, and WordPress probably being one of the larger code bases, but by far not even the largest I think I'm involved with.
Yeah.
Just reviewing the parameters of every single function in all of those code bases. I mean, WordPress alone is something like 500,000 lines of code. Seriously. This is not a small job. And you can't. This was voted into PHP, I think in August last year. So it basically left projects maybe 3 months to do that review. And that's with everything else going on.
Yep.
So
all the other changes that came along too.
That's nice and dandy if you have a private file, small 5,000 line of code open source project. This is completely undoable for projects like WordPress.
Exactly. And we're, like she's saying, she's involved in 20 some other open source projects. And I'm seeing it across the board in a lot of other open source like Drupal and Joomla. All of them are dealing with the exact same problem here. So this isn't unique to us. However, it is what it is, and we're going to have to deal with it, which is what we're starting to do here with this ticket. So anyway, unfortunately, things like this, we will feel like, well, why do we have to rename these things? Why do we have to go through this effort? And this is why. It's either that or WordPress just takes the stance to say, we will not support name parameters, and that's it. That isn't something that we do.
Or WordPress can say we support it, and we will respect that the parameter names are now part of the public API, and we will never change parameter names again.
Yep.
But that also means that really, really badly chosen parameter names are now public API.
That's exactly right.
Previously, those parameter names were only relevant for the code within the function. So they were chosen to make sense for the code within the function. They weren't chosen to make sense to end users who would use them to call a function.
Exactly.
So quite often, the logic for what the name of a parameter is was based on a developer use case and not an end user developer use case.
Yeah.
Which is a different way of determining whether a name is correct and if descriptive enough.
Right. Yeah, it focused in on where it was used within the scope of where it was used and the context of where it was used instead of looking at what was passing into it. And that was the way we thought about how we named those parameters, method or function parameters, was in that scope. But things have changed now. Now we've got to look outward to see from that, as she's saying, from the user side and how it's used elsewhere. So anyway, we just kind of wanted to set that up for everybody to understand that this is a lot of work. It changes some of the readability, but it's necessary because of this. Okay. I think we beat that to death.
And to get back to it, I mean, basically, it is a lot of work. What you see us working on today is only a tiny, tiny part of that. It's only task 1 of this ticket. Task 2, which is the much, much bigger one,
huge,
is the one which isn't yet addressed and which is the biggest roadblock to supporting name parameters. Task 2 also contains that code sample which Tonya asked for while I went to the ticket, which shows why using reserved keywords is not a good idea. For parameters in the context of name parameters.
There's a perfect one right there.
Like that.
Yeah.
So for anyone coming across that function call without having the function declarations right above it, they need to do a double take. Like, hang on, what's being done here?
Yeah. Why are you giving me the type?
Yeah.
That's exactly when I read it. That's what I see. That's the type.
Yeah. And that might also partially be to do with how code is highlighted in fact, but all the same, the principle is still, hang on, what the heck is going on?
Absolutely. And when we're looking at it in our editors, we probably have some coloration going on too to highlight. And that will be, you'll look at that and you're going to think, I don't get it. What's happening?
It depends on how well the editor highlights or has been adjusted.
Or how you set it up.
Yeah, but all the same, it generally speaking, it will be confusing for people, which is why I very strongly recommend not to use reserved keywords
100%.
as parameter names anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as I say, the ticket contains a gist with a list of all the instances in WordPress core where they are being used. I think that's 200 different function declarations.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to work on that part of the ticket, please feel very welcome.
Go for it.
So. Hopefully, though, keep in mind that we are doing some of those renames already as part of the child-parent mismatch rename.
Correct.
So those obviously you don't want to redo what we're doing. So yeah, but there is a list available, and have a look at that. And I'm pretty sure somewhere at the bottom there will be an updated link. Yeah.
To the gist.
Yeah. The gist. Okay. Yeah. So there is a gist somewhere here.
I thought last time you dropped the updated one in there. Maybe not.
Yeah, I actually updated it and then left a comment saying I updated it.
Yeah.
But I didn't put
there
in
it
the
is.
link. So here is the gist link, and if we go to that, just so people can see what it will literally identify the file name, the line number, or based on the date of the scan, where the function declaration was found, and which parameter in that function declaration uses a reserved keyword, what the offending parameter name is. So it will give you all the information you need to make this directly actionable. Mm-hmm. It just means, you need to start having a really, really good think about what the name should be then.
Right. You think that's easy. That is not. That can sometimes be the hard part of this. Mm-hmm. Mostly when we do want to respect to make things as understandable, reduce that cognitive complexity and that cognitive load in your brain, right? So that you can just look at it, read it, and it makes sense to you. Trying to name things sometimes in a generic way is tough.
Well, and a generic way like using objects can be very descriptive, except with named parameters, it's now problematic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, basically there's 290 different issues still in core.
Yeah.
Using 24 different keyword PHP reserved keywords, and spread out over 121 files. And some of that is addressed in
of it is.
PR we're currently working on, right. But that's probably only a very small part of it.
It would just be a small percentage that's in here.
Right. And if I look at this list, there are a number of things here in test. I mean, tests also shouldn't be using reserved keywords as parameter names. At the same time, anything where it's used in test, I couldn't care less about. Because seriously, if someone uses name parameters in test, that's their own risk. I mean, that's not public API.
Absolutely. It's not going to be distributed, so we're not as worried about that.
I'm really not concerned about that. And if someone uses a name parameter, then change the parameter name, the test will basically be broken. Yeah. So it will never get committed because CI will fail the build. And it needs to be fixed up. I'm not worried about what's in the tests.
No, me neither. So, alrighty. I shared a link to that gist too, so folks can see it. It's in the ticket, but just because we're talking about it, I put it right in the chat. All right.
Excellent. Right, let's go back to the report.
I think we got through all of the start EL,
Yep. We finished that one. So the next one is end EL.
End EL.
Okay.
There are 5 instances of end EL.
Actually, we had start EL, the second parameter as well.
Oh, right.
But the first commit, let's see, had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 files, 10 child classes, 1 parent. Yep. Here we have 6, 7, 8, 9. So here we have 9. That means that I sort of presume actually that it'll be complete because the total number of child classes where there's a problem is 10. This has 9. That's the overlap is complete. It's 100%. So I'm going to presume we're fine on that front.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That means one of them didn't have an issue. Woo!
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Okay. Start of an end EL. Again, we have the list. So the first one is that Walker can't read checklist, which is already
got that one.
Let's look at the next ones. Okay, here it just flags one more, which is nav menu.
Yeah, there's actually 5 of them in the report.
Why do I not see? Oh,
they're there. You got to come back.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Walker category.
Yeah, comment.
Walker comment
page.
And, Walker page. And then we have Walker
and then the parent.
This commit again at least covers all the files, and we're going to presume that means that all the right parameters have been changed.
Correct.
I mean, we did go through the ticket quite thoroughly last week to actually look at the changes made. So those have been reviewed already. We're now just checking whether anything new has cropped up between when the ticket was originally created, when the patch was originally created, and now.
Correct. Okay.
Okay, so
we did start. We did start. We've done update.
No, update for. We already did update, but that was update for customized settings. We didn't do update for the widget API, which is what this one is. So this is customized settings, and this is widget. So widget 2014, yeah, correct. And then we have widget media, yeah, correct. And that's it.
And that's it for that one.
Yeah. So we can go back to the top.
Now we're on single row.
Where were we? Yeah. Okay, we were here, 2014. Single row is the next one. If I can type correctly, that is.
That was my problem earlier today.
Single row, and that one is to do with list table.
Yep. So we got terms. There.
Terms list table. We have
users. We have theme install.
Yeah, theme install, and then multi-site theme install. Oops, sorry.
Oops. Yep. Okay.
And
posts.
Post list table. Yep. So this ticket is done and complete. Correct.
Okay, then we go to column default. Again in list table.
Yeah. So let's highlight them again. The first one, terms.
Yep. Then MS users.
Nothing above that, no. Okay, then MS users.
Yep. Links.
Yeah, and MS
sites. And then media. And then MS themes.
And then WP comments.
And then posts.
Posts.
That's it. Yep.
Yes, correct. And that means this commit is also done and verified.
Okay, and then we have handle row actions. Again in list table.
Handle row actions. Again, making sure that there's nothing hidden above this first report. Handle row actions.
There we go. We have terms.
List.
Or links list. Sorry.
MS users.
Yep.
MS sites.
Yep. Media
and
comments. And then posts.
Yes.
There you go.
And that's it. This one is done as well, verified. Okay, and then the next one is column CB.
Yep. List table again.
let's make sure again, nothing at the top. Okay, let me grab the commits.
Okay, so we got terms, MS users,
yeah,
links list,
yeah,
MS sites,
yeah,
media, MS,
media,
yeah, MS themes,
yeah,
comments, and
yeah.
posts.
Okay,
And that's it.
Yeah, nothing below that, so we're all good.
Okay.
And I can close that commit again. So, okay, handle row action with scene.
Yep, we've done that one.
Column default we already done as well.
Yep, column CB we did.
Start EL, end EL we'd already done.
Done.
Handle row actions we've done.
Error is the next one, I think.
Okay, so function error. Okay, let's make sure again this is really the first one in the list. Yes. And that has to do with upgrader skin. Okay, so there's a commit for it. Language pack upgrader skin. Okay.
Yep. And then there's a bulk upgrader skin also down below. So that one's also in the commit.
Okay, and yes, it is indeed.
That's it.
Nothing else. Okay, that's easy peasy. Now in the same class, we've got feedback.
Feedback. Yep.
That's the next one.
There's two of those. So let's see what our commit looks like.
I expect the same.
Oh, we got more. Interesting.
It's sure there's only two of them. Let's have a look at the top with. Okay, where is the first one? The first one is in the Ajax upgrader skin. The second one in automatic upgrader skin.
Correct.
Now let's make sure. Yeah, it doesn't say any more in this report. Now let's have a look at the commit then.
Right, for the other two.
Yeah, what's going on here? Okay. The parent class, which is what I'm currently looking at on the screen.
It's using string.
And it shows that it was using string, which is a soft-reserved keyword, which is used for type declarations to declare scalar types, was used as the original parameter name. So even though there was only a conflict between the parameter name of the child and the parent for those two classes, because we need to change the parameter name of the parent no matter what, because it's a reserved keyword, we're also changing it in the one extra class, which also extends of this class.
Correct.
So that's bulk upgrader skin, which didn't have a conflict, and you can see that because it was also using string. Still had to be updated to feedback, and feedback makes a lot more sense in this context anyway. So it's a more descriptive name, a better name. So I think we did the right thing there.
Wow, we actually got one that was more descriptive. Yes.
I'm not going to rename this one at the top of the function.
No.
I'm blocking that.
No, in this case, it's actually better.
Yeah. Just so
let's see.
Okay.
All right, let's go down.
We've got all those.
Got all those. We got error, feedback, column, row action, single row update, get URL list.
Yeah. Hey. Okay.
Two of those.
Is it really only two? Always check.
Yep. I've got a count on mine that shows. That's why I always say.
Actually, yes, it does have a count here as well. I just overlooked it. Okay, get URL list.
Got two of those.
Again, so we can have them show both on the screen. Okay,
sitemaps, taxonomies.
Taxonomies, yeah. And
sitemap posts. Yep.
We're good. Both them are addressed. So yeah, then the next one will be that get max num page. Yes. Yeah. And again, again in the sitemap provider.
Yep.
Post and taxonomies.
And taxonomies.
About our address. So we're good.
2 and 2.
Then save.
Save. Right.
That's the only one we still have to go. And there should only be one, of course.
There's one. Yep.
Do I have a commit for that? Okay, this might be a new one. Hey,
we got a new
one. Yes, I don't think there is a commit addressing save yet.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. I don't see one. Nope, we don't have one. Okay, that one's due.
Okay. So that one we need to look at, and I can do a plus here and actually see the code. Mm-hmm. But we're probably better off actually looking at the file. Okay, that didn't work in this case, but yeah, I'll look at the file in a minute. Mm-hmm. So we need to add one commit. What we also need to do is make sure, and we're just going to visually do that now. We basically use this list of commits to go through the list from the Xcode report. Mm-hmm. Let's just go through and check that we've seen all of them. Single row we've seen.
Yep.
Yeah. Column default.
Yep.
Column CB.
Yep.
Handle row action.
Yep.
Start EL.
Yes.
End EL because there's a second start EL. Feedback and error. I'm pretty sure we have.
Yep.
Sanitize, update, validate. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Prepare item for response. That was the first one. That was the very first one we looked at.
Oh, yep. There it is. Yes.
Get parents.
Yes.
Get URL is get max number pages. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did those last. And then the widget update. So yeah,
yep.
Everything which is in the commit list already are things we already looked at.
Correct.
So the report has now been verified. So the next step is to add that extra commit.
Yeah, the extra one.
So let me pull up an editor. Sorry, you're going to hear some dings and donks. They're not that kind of donks.
I didn't even go there.
That's what you say. That's what you say, Tonya.
Well, that time I didn't go there, so I did now.
Right.
That's in the save method. Okay.
Just minimizing a lot of other things. Hang on. We need to know which file. Which file do I need?
This is in the includes, WP includes. This is the class-wp- image-editor-gb.php.
These names.
No.
I am in includes.
Yep.
Class W. Okay, so it's not class
image
class
editor.
Image.
Yeah.
Right. And then editor GD. Then I'm already going to open two more files, which is editor and editor image magic. Because I mean, if there's a mismatch, in GD then expect the parent should be image editor, and I'm correct there. And then that image magic will be extending that same parent.
Yep.
So if we need to change it in the parent, we will need to change it in all three editors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is this readable still on the screen?
Let me see.
Or should I make the font size a little larger?
Why don't you make the font size just a little bit larger? I can see it, but I've got a big screen. So.
Yeah. That's maybe a bit too large again.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. I think they can see it.
This should work anyway. This should be good enough, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, this is readable.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look. The function was called save, wasn't it?
Correct. Yep.
Yep.
And we're dealing with the first parameter.
Function save. So I've searched now and then get a list at the bottom with all three of them. Officially, the first one is called dest file name.
Correct.
The GD one is called file name.
File name.
And ImageMagick says dest file name. Dest file name actually is more descriptive.
Yes.
Is the name used in the parent? So I feel
switch the one instance.
Switching it out and switching it out everywhere, not renaming within the function, because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to rename that in function.
Correct. I agree. The default value is the same in that instance. That's good. How about the other one? Does it also default to null?
Well, you can see here at the bottom in the search.
Oh, I see it there on your screen.
Yep. All of them. Well, the only mismatch there was the first parameter name.
Good.
Other than that, they all have the null as the first default value and null as the second, and MIME type as the second parameter name. Correct. So they're all good.
By the way, folks, as you watch us do this, since we're checking, we also check the value. We're looking at the type because we might spot another problem that we can open up another ticket for as well, or put into our task that we need to take a look at. So if you see a problem, you want to take action to open up a ticket for it, and so that it can be, because believe me, once you leave that code, it'll be a long time for you to come back and look at it again to remember, whoops, there was a problem I could have fixed. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up my git commit message now. So and I'm going to cheat.
Go for it.
I'm just going to use the same message as was used elsewhere. Yeah. Copy the class name, copy the file name, of the method name, to update the description and say we're done. That way, the messages are all they have similar information, and they're bare bones messages at this moment, because after all, the ticket itself is extremely descriptive in track. Yeah. So I didn't feel the need to give extremely extensive descriptions in the commits itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Now we have to go through the commits again to see where we need to do the rename at the beginning of the function if the parent class of the parent parameter, which was taken, was less descriptive than the original one, and to add comments.
Yep.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, so at least we got the first parts, two first parts done. One, we went through the report and we double checked. We found one that wasn't in there yet, and we took care of updating that one and committing it. So the report side of things and going back and checking to get us to current state, that's done. Now we can move on to the next part of what we're going to work on. But why don't we take a quick break here? I'm going to run to the restroom. We'll take a quick break, get some more water, and then we can start to tackle the next part.
Yeah, let me stop my screen share for the moment.
Okay.
And then we'll get back to it in a moment again once you're back.
Yep.
And then I propose that we'll go commit through commit and just get it over with.
Yeah, that's
ready to commit after this session.
Absolutely. And now that we have agreement and consensus, once we get this done, this one should just be ready for commit at that point. Yeah. Okay. Break. Everybody take a break. Be back in 5.
Yay!
Yay!
Welcome back. I was just actually answering a ticket elsewhere, which may be interesting to have a look at. But see, you're just now plugging in your earphones here.
I can hear you now.
Yeah. So you didn't hear what I started to say earlier.
I did
I was
not.
just composing an answer to a ticket which was created.
What's that?
Which actually is something which would be interesting to discuss here as well. Yeah. But let's do that afterwards.
Okay.
And it does hook into something we were discussing earlier about the WordPress test suite. But yeah, okay. Let's discuss that after. Let's first go through.
Instead of convoluting in the middle of what we're working on.
Yeah. And I'm not going to finish writing that commit message now. Okay. I'm just going to go back to where we were working on. So let's share screen again. And as I said, probably easiest to just go commit by commit, literally go from one commit to the next.
Yeah.
Look, see what needs to be done, and then just move to the next.
All right.
So this is the first one. We're doing a rename at the top. Yeah, because team is more descriptive than item, post is more descriptive than item, text more descriptive than item. Team is more descriptive than item, but here we're not doing we're doing the rename except after the empty, which is fair enough. And
yeah,
here we're not, also doing the rename. So we're renaming all in each of them. Mm-hmm. So we need to add the comments.
Right. Excuse me while I eat a banana while we're talking.
And while I'm smoking. Okay, what I'm gonna do, and this is why I love my Git extensions editor so much. Instead of opening my text editor or my IDE to do this change, I've just opened the diff for the specific commit. So I've got the files listed here already. I take note. This is line 983 where we wanted to add a comment.
Yep.
I can just open it up right in the diff. There's an editor built into my basically my Git IDE. So
well, look at that. Sweet.
So it was line 964.
Yep.
I go to line 964, and now we can add a comment. Mm-hmm. Rename generic parameter name to more descriptive, specific name for use in the function. Also see track. What was it? 51553?
Yeah, 51553.
Should I put a link in there, or should I just?
I think just the ticket number. Yeah.
Okay, and as this is now a multi-line comment, let's make it a proper multi-line comment. So, like this, and you can see that even this relatively simplistic editor has code highlighting in there.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just copy this now before I save it, because I'm going to reuse the same comment in every single one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I agree. We're just across the board going to use this. So, folks know when you do a single line comment for the coding standard, you can have the double slashes there. But when you have multi-line, look how she did that there, right? So it's just a standard that we want to be aware of.
Yeah, and be also aware that the difference between a multi-line comment and a doc block.
A doc block.
A doc block has 2 stars at the opener
Yep.
and a multi-line inline comment has 1. So this is this actually makes a difference for static code analysis.
Yes.
So it's important to use the right comment style.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
this comment will be good. I can save it now, and I did that with a keyboard shortcut. And then we can go to the next file and do the same trick. And the next file, the line number is 1355.
Post.
So 1355.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, 1355. Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually 1358 by the looks of it.
Wait, are we in post?
Oh, no. Okay, we're not actually doing a rename as such here, though effectively we are, because we're taking item, doing a get post, and originally this said post and reassigned back to post, and now we're just passing it item and assigning to post.
I don't think that one needs a comment, do you?
That doesn't need a comment.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, when you read that code, it's not going to jump out at you because it was reassigning it before, and you can see get post, you assign it to post. Makes sense.
Yeah. And the same thing is basically being done here.
Exactly.
This one doesn't need a comment either.
Nope.
This one does.
Yep.
That's line 277. So I'm just going to paste that comment. I wonder if, no, I think this is at 80 characters. I'm okay with it being this long. Considering that the doc block has a longer line, I'm fine with it being this long. So that's done. And then we have the last one where, again, we're doing it at the top and we do need to comment.
Right. That's line 273.
No, that was the previous one. This is 422. Sorry.
Which one are we on?
We're at the last one now.
Oh, okay. Did we?
Okay, let's go through them again.
Yep.
First one, we added one.
Yep.
This one we didn't need one.
We
This
didn't
one
need
we didn't
that. We didn't need that.
Here we added the comment, and here I added the comment as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to commit these 3 changes. Oh, that's one thing which I didn't take into account. Because I'm using my editor, it's changed line endings because I'm on Windows. And Git should actually fix that for me. But I want to be sure it's fixed. So I'm just going to quickly open WordPress core here. Where is my WordPress core? Here, WordPress core. So I'm opening a tab. I'm using PHP-CS. And I'm using filter is git stage, actually git modified. So it will only scan the files I've just modified, those 3, nothing more. And it should fix, oh, sorry. Okay, it should trigger on those 3 issues, and I can then run the fixer. And once I've confirmed it's only triggering on those 3 issues. However, and that's what you see now, I'm using dev versions of PHP-CS, which are ahead of the curve. So I need to make a tiny tweak in my environment to make sure that we don't see that error we just saw. Yeah. Because I might be able to, let me check if this helps. I don't think it will, but no. Trying to think how I can quickly fix this.
Yeah.
without having to change branches on all my coding standards. Okay, I'm just going to comment this one out because I think that's the one. Yeah. Hey! It gives me white space found at end of line on a number of them, which is probably the actual issue.
Mm-hmm.
It also gives me a loose comparison. I don't want to fix that.
Nope.
So I want to be very selective when I'm fixing. So I'm going to use PHP CBF, still use filter git modified. So I'll only look at the files which are actually the problems. And I'm going to copy this error code, or well, sniff code, tell it to use that, to just fix that sniff. It's made changes there. Now let's run it again. Hey, wow, oh, for crying out loud. Okay, now the fixer used also changes the tabs to spaces. So let's change that back. Now check again. Yeah, I'm fine with these issues. These are not issues we're going to solve now. So
did you all just learn how to actually run a little bit better in that analyzer? Did you see that? Pretty cool, right?
Well, if you really wanted to learn more, then you should have been at last night's PHP Minds meetup.
That's right.
Where I did PHP Code Sniffer Ask Me Anything session, which was incredibly enjoyable and fun to do.
Yeah.
And I got some amazing questions, and I explained a lot about, how to run PHP CS effectively and how to get it to do what you want instead of doing the default things.
Yep.
I'm not going to go into that in the same depth here now, but
but these little things I pointed out so that folks will go and say, hey, that was cool. Let me go learn more about that.
Yeah. So and actually this last night's session from PHP Minds was recorded, and it's probably going to be published, though they're still checking about that, but I'm expecting it to be published at some point in the future.
Cool.
Once it is, you can rewatch that whole session. I'm answering all the questions by live demo.
Yeah,
so cool. You can follow along with your own code and just follow the commands I'm using to learn and try things out.
When that does go public, what I'll do is I'll come back to this episode, and in the YouTube comments, I'll put a link in there so y'all can find it, just so it stays linked together. Because I know at some point I might go, wait, we talked about that. Where was it? And then just keep it all together.
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, if people are interested in this, follow me on Twitter, because once it comes out, I will tweet about it.
Yep, she will.
So, then you'll see it. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to commit those 3 files, and I'm not going to commit the PHP CS change because, actually, let's commit that PHP CS change because we're going to use it for the rest of this change. But I'm just going to say
it's temporary
because we're not going to actually use it in this PR. I'm not going to upload, push it upstream. I'm just committing it so I don't have to change this again later, and it's not in my way. Now I'm going to commit those 3. Now, what about it? Okay, well, as none of this has been committed to WordPress yet, this is just a PR open for review. I can, of course, add this extra commit to it, but that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add any value having a separate commit where I add those comments, instead of having that commit of these comments just included with your original commit for single row. So I'm going to make a comment here saying add to single row, which will allow me at the end of this exercise to rebase this commit and to squash commits together and to still end up with atomic commits which can be easily reviewed, which can be, which are completely atomic. They contain everything they need to do.
That's right. So imagine that if you're a code reviewer, right? That you can go commit by commit by commit, and bam, everything that you need is right there in that commit. It really is helpful when you're reviewing code. So, but she'll show you that. She showed you that last time in the last episode. At the end of this one, she'll walk through it again and show you how to do that so you can adopt something like this in your workflow. Okay.
But it's not just useful for reviewing. More than anything, it's also useful for tracing back history. Because say I would keep it as a separate commit. Then people would see that comment commit. Then they'd have to go back to the next commit to figure out why I added that comment. Mm-hmm. You can also check. Say a commit is not fully atomic and is missing a file update. So say you've added a file which should have been added to Git attributes as well in the export ignore, and that wasn't done. If you go through the history of Git attributes, it's going to be really hard to figure out why that was added, unless you can click on the commit and then see the complete context of why that change was added.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I will tell you, it will also help you as the person that is writing this code when you go back, like we just did. Notice how at the start of this, because she did it that way, we were able to go through and do that audit so much easier than trying to bounce around and trying to find, wait, this one got changed down here, right? So it helps us too.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I just noticed, and I did that, I fixed that in, let me pull up the code I just made. Okay. In the first comment, I noticed just before I saved it that I'd forgotten a period at the end of the second line. Apparently I'd copied the comment before adding the period, because I can just notice that in the second and the third, that period is missing.
Okay.
So I'm still going to add that period. So I'm going to edit them again. So this was line 279. I'm just going to add that period because we do want to have proper punctuation in comments as well.
Yes, we do.
And again, so here, this is line 424. And I'm just going to add that period. And now I'm going to go to the commit again. And in this case, I'm just going to amend the previous commit. And then it will be one commit together with what I just did, that add to commit. And now before I make the next change, I want to make sure that I copy the comment again to my, pasteboard, clipboard, to make sure it actually contains the period at the end and we don't have to do this again.
That's right.
Right,
so
next one.
Keep copying and pasting the same problem over and over again. It's like, darn it.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay, so we're going to the next commit. If you're on GitHub, you can follow along with doing next. And you already saw me opening the diff in my Git editor. So here we didn't do the rename at the beginning.
Right. So this one will want to do the rename and then add the comment.
Let's have a quick look at the file context. No. Sorry, no. This is a one-line method.
It is.
Does it make any sense to add that rename at the start?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just curious if it's going to block the commit from going in for where it was, we want this on everyone. That's the only thing that worries me. But I agree with you. It's one line in this entire function. Adding one more line of code adds no value.
We'd add one more line of code with 4 lines of comments, just Yeah, no.
Let's go with no on this one. And if there's pushback, we can deal with it.
Yeah,
So.
we can. I mean, it does say comment ID here anyway.
Yeah.
So it should be clear enough what it is anyway.
I agree.
It says comment object. Considering it's only one line function.
Well, and considering that the property is telling you the context, that's what it is. It's a comment, right? And you've got plenty of comments all around it that tell you this is a comment. Same thing with the next one. Right. Wait a minute. Hold it. How many lines? Yep, this one's one line also. Yep.
Yeah, you can see me switching here. I mean, this is the div, and I can switch here to show the entire file so that it will expand everything in between. Mm-hmm. So here again, it's the same thing.
One line.
It's a one-line method.
Yep. So that one's fine. No,
link
let's move
object, on. Link ID, link ID. There's literally nothing there to do.
Yeah, like we said, yes, there's a comment about that it's needed to add it in, but the context is there from the property, and there's plenty of comments all around it to let you know context. Your eye isn't even going to go necessarily to the object's variable naming. It's going to go to that property that's being used. So it's fine.
The renaming and the comments is to make things more descriptive and to prevent people renaming the parameter name later.
Right.
Except that is not an issue in those.
Not in those.
Let's not create a problem when there isn't one. In this case, here we are doing the rename at the start.
Yep.
So that's line 598.
598. Yep.
598. And I'm going to paste the comment. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the next file.
Okay, same thing. One-liner.
Yep, we're not going to do it. Here we are changing it at the top, but not to the original name, but okay, so let's look. It's still okay.
We lose the context when we come down to fire the action down there because now it's item instead of theme. That could cause someone to go, wait a minute, the variable in the doc block there for that action event says theme. So here I would say that my vote would be to assign at the top and then just keep the context.
No, my vote would be different. Basically, I mean, this assignment doesn't make any sense anyway. Because, I mean, do action, basically this item get style sheet could just have gone here.
Yeah, it could. Now, I'm talking about the item next to it. Yeah, and you're right. There's really no reason to do an assignment there.
Yeah. So why is that assignment at the top being done anyway? And if that assignment hadn't been there at the top, then we wouldn't have.
Why did we do that? Actually, we didn't. That was there from before. Yeah.
Yeah, that was there from before.
Yeah.
But as we're looking at this function now anyway, we can improve it by removing this whole variable assignment, moving it there. And then what I would do is make this a multi-line function call and add an inline comment behind this parameter saying team instead of the whole description we had earlier. Shall I just show you what I'm thinking?
I know what you're saying. Let's lay it out and see how readable it is, just to make sure that it doesn't cause someone to go, wait a minute, I'm not understanding. Which is the whole point of doing these assignments and then the comment, right? It's just from your cognitive load, wait, what is happening here and why?
So let me quickly make sure that I keep a copy of what I need to copy paste because I'm going to be editing here. And to prevent those line endings issues, I'm now going to.
There you go.
Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Sorry. I'm actually copying the Linux line ending now.
Yeah.
The copy and pasting to prevent the Windows line ending coming in. I'll still check it afterwards.
Yeah. That can be
then
put down
I'm
there.
gonna do that. Okay, hang on. I missed that item still needs to be done. Right. And then so what I'm proposing is doing this.
Okay. Theme object. Yep.
Yeah, the fact that the parameter name here in the doc block for the action is not the same as in the action is not an issue, because the doc block for an action is about making it descriptive.
Correct.
Similar like item get style sheet. Quite often you will have function calls and to get the parameters in place for the action. It doesn't need to have an exact match. It just needs to be descriptive for the action for someone who will use that action.
Right.
And remove those variables.
And we have that throughout core. Yeah, we have that throughout core to where a variable that's more descriptive to tell you the value that's coming back, right? It's more descriptive for what's being passed through the action. And I often find myself going, okay, wait a minute, what's happening here? So this here is actually a little bit more descriptive just because she's put inline right there with that particular parameter. So, yep, yeah, I agree with that.
I'm going to do it for style sheet as well because of the function call. Yeah, I think it's basically the same as already is in the action doc block. It still really makes it more descriptive. It adds value having those extra comments, even though they could be as redundant. But this makes more sense to me than having those assignments at the top and then using variables here. And yeah. What do you think?
I like the inline comments. The inline comments need to be there if we're not going to do variable assignments to match. The variable assignments in my brain typically don't make any sense anyway. Why take the processing time and take the memory to assign something, put it in just because you're just going to pass it through. Instead, put a comment in that tells you what's going on and then it can match. So I would stop anyway in this function if we had variable assignments just to do those things and go, wait, why are we doing this? So either way would make me stop. And at least this way it's more performant and it's right there in line. So I agree. Let's go this route.
Okay. In that case, that one is done. Let's look at the next one. Okay, let's look at the div. Okay. It's still a one-line function.
Yep.
It's a filter which is documented elsewhere. In this case, I would use the same logic as we just used, making it a multi-line function call and using the comment behind the parameter instead of adding a reassignment at the top.
Yep. Yeah, and you have the ID there, which is telling you it's an ID of something, right? So the matter of is what's the something.
Yeah, so this is the function call we're talking. Let me copy what I need to add in front of it again. And then add that this is, this is
the user ID.
Yeah, user ID.
Mm-hmm. You want to put that on its own line too?
Yeah, another one, yeah. Mm-hmm. The column name is descriptive enough. What I would be wondering is what the heck is this empty string?
I would wonder that too, actually.
And because the filter is documented elsewhere, that's not as easy to say. Shall we look it up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We're commenting and making things more readable here. Why not?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to close the editor then to look it up. I'm going to go through, let me show that on the screen. I'm going to use the file tree in my Git editor to go to the actual file, because it's, if we look, it was documented in admin includes class WP users list table. So admin includes WP users list table. So now I can pull up the file. Now what was, if we look at the div, okay, it was the manage user custom column filter. So this is the file history. Let's go to the blame view or the view to find the comments. Okay, here. Okay, the custom column output default empty. I'm just going to copy this comment.
Mm-hmm. And then put it there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then go back to the editor. Mm-hmm. Go to the line where we were working, and add that comment as a trailing comment.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk through this just a little bit here. The item, when you look at item, you're not sure just by looking at the variable name, what's the item? What's the context of item? You literally now need to look at the user ID. You need to look at the comment, but you've also got the comment in the doc block. You've got the comment inline right next to it. The only risk here is if someone goes, well, I can get rid of the comment by renaming item to user. There's not a cognitive switch there to understand that this is due to that ticket again. Yeah. There you go. Boom. And that solves it right there. That's the why. Right? So in this case, it's more performant not to assign it to a variable and then just use it. We added a comment and then attached to the why. Here's the context of why that's there. There you go. That eliminates that risk that we're worried about as well. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And if we then look at this one, which we also pulled apart, maybe we should add the comment of sheet that's traffic.
I think so, yeah.
I'm going to edit that one again. 874.
Yeah, it just kind of refining my thinking on it as if we're not going to make the variable assignment, let's add that in at least. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. Actually, we even made the rest of that code in both of those cases more readable too, because we left the inline comments to give you the context. Good. I like that.
Okay, so we've done both of those. So now we're at post item. That one's got a reassignment at the top again.
Copy paste.
So 1243. Let me get this comment in again. Yep. Copy. And then here is the line. And I should be able to just paste it.
Yeah.
Yep. Now the next one, okay, this is one we're going to do the same pattern.
Same pattern, yeah. So essentially we have the same pattern. If it's an assignment, we do this. If it's a one-liner that's doing an event, some sort of hook, we'll break it apart into multi-lines and then add the comments to it. I like that. It has a rhythm to it.
Yeah, but it also has logic to it.
It does.
It makes total sense to do it this way. And it still adds the comment. It still keeps that descriptiveness, which was previously done with the different variable name.
Yeah.
So was it 533 or 553?
553. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and okay, blank string. Sorry. Considering it's the same method, it's probably the same thing as from the previous commit. So let's just copy that same comment, custom column output default empty, and add that here as well. and have that here as well, because
Yep.
that just makes so much more sense. Actually, in that case, we don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the column name is different anyway. That was just for that empty string. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that it says string here, which is a reserved keyword, is not an issue, because with hook names, you can't use name parameters anyway.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of that one. Now, was it the commit before? We had one-liners as well. We might want to go back to look at those just to make sure, do we want to put that comment in for the ticket? I don't remember. So I just wanted to go ahead and finish this commit.
Here we had this is the previous one. Here we added the comment. Mm-hmm. Here it didn't make any sense to add a comment because it was already being reassigned.
Yep.
Similar here, same thing. Here we added the comments, and here we added the comments. So the previous commit was not the same.
That's the one before. Let me check while you go ahead and commit. I'm going to go backwards and
just we're only on the second commit. We're only on the second commit, so there's no.
I thought we had a couple that were one-line actions. And my brain is going.
No, that was in this.
That was commit. In this one.
That was in this one, and we've changed those.
Okay.
Okay, let me just.
I'm back with you now, folks.
Let me just run PHP CBF with filter get modified and those two sniffs again, just to make sure line endings and everything are tidy.
Sounds good.
And then it should be ready to commit. So yeah, this one we've added the comments. Here we've removed the variable, made it more descriptive, and added the comments here, added the track, made it a multi-line, and added the description there.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Same thing here. Mm-hmm. And we added the custom column output one, making that blank more descriptive.
Yep.
Here we added the one at the top, and here again we made it more descriptive.
Yep, good.
So
next.
In this case, not single row, but what is the function name column default. So I'm committing it, and we're going to go to the next commit to look at. Let me close the previous window so I'm not going to get confused. Mm-hmm. Column CB. Okay, here a rename was done. Mm-hmm. It is a 2, 3, 4 line function, but yeah, in this case, I think having the assignment at the top does actually add value.
Yeah, I think so too. And plus, then we can add the comment to it, and you don't have to deal with it at each individual spot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So in that case, that means I'm going to have to revert these 2 lines.
Yep.
So I'm going to reset those. Yeah, it always says that, but normally it doesn't mean anything. We'll see in a minute. Let me check. Has it? No, it hasn't actually done anything. It hasn't done the revert. That's not good.
Hello.
Why is this one still open? Yep. Right, div.
That one.
So line 873. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to move this one off screen again, so I can
focus on just the other.
Right.
873.
Go 873. We're gonna rename item to comments, because that was the original name. I'm going to copy and paste that typical comment, which we were going to leave at the top. Mm-hmm. I'm going to add a blank line between these 2.
Very good.
And then everywhere where I changed it to item has to be changed back to comment. Mm-hmm. Is
that
that
all of them? Dun, dun. Yep, that's all of them.
No? Are we very, very, very sure? Yeah.
Yep, that's all of them.
Okay. Right. In that case, we'll move to the next one, which diff. Okay. Here again, we're going to need to
Same thing.
refer these lines. Let's see if it will do that automatically. If not, no, it doesn't. That's probably because in the previous commits we already changed something in those functions or in those files already, which is why those ifs won't apply cleanly. So we'll just have to do the manual edit. Line 170.
Which will be perfectly fine once you go back and squash everything together. It's do your rebase. So
nobody will even see this.
No.
Link is item.
Yep.
We're going to copy the comment again and add that at the top. Adding for an extra blank line for readability.
And then there's 4 instances where we've got to change it. Wait, we got one.
Yeah, so link.
Hey, these are reverted.
Oh, they have. Okay, that's good. Then the before did work. It just gave the error.
It just yelled at you. Yeah.
Yeah, it sometimes does that. I actually filed an issue with the editor about that. And they were saying, "Oh, it always did that." I'm like, "No, it didn't." Seriously, I love this Git client.
Yeah.
And you can see how I work in it extensively, and the things I do with it. This Git client for Windows, Git extensions, it's maintained again on GitHub. It's open source. I would highly recommend it. And yeah, yes, I sometimes do file issues, but the team is really responsive and really works with you to get things fixed. Cool. I can only give them the highest praise you can give them. So
that's cool.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we recently, just a little side note, we recently took about 2 months to figure something out. The application kept crashing on my machine, and they were like, you can't reproduce, and at some point they managed to reproduce it, and it was a combination of 3, 4, 5 things. But the underlying cause, well, the first reason was it was crashing, but then the bug reporter wasn't kicking in because they'd forgotten to add the file to the release. It happens. So I added that file manually. Okay, fine. Then it crashed less often, but still crashed. And the underlying issue was that GDI objects, which is how modals are created on Windows, and there's a limit to the count you can have for any application. Any application has a limit of 10,000. You can actually raise that limit if you use regedit, regedit to edit the registry of Windows. I did that. That did help. Normally it doesn't work. In this case, it did work. Hey,
yeah.
It was still crashing as soon as it reached, 10,000, or in this case, 20,000 GDI objects. And I mean, it should never reach that. I mean, GDI objects can be created, but should also be cleared again once they're no longer used.
Yeah.
So they're leaking objects somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
2 months with nearly everyone of the core team of this application to figure out the problem. And they were like, I use Git extension myself a lot, but I'm not getting it. How much are you doing this? What kind of power user are you? So I've had discussions with them like this before, and they're like, "Yeah, how do you keep saying, how can you work like that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Just, I work on a lot of open source projects.
Yes, you do. That's right. You're good at finding these things too. So I shared a link to Git extensions for everybody in live chat, so it's right there for you.
Excellent. Yeah. Again, I very highly recommend that. I've been using it for a number of years now. Once I discovered this client, my productivity at least doubled.
Wow. There you go. There's an endorsement right there.
Yeah, this client is awesome. And I'm still discovering features which I wasn't using before, which still make me more productive every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's I'm still not even using all of it.
Amazing.
Yeah, but let's get back to
so you Windows folks, there's a client for you. Go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard good stories about several others like GitCrack and there's a couple of others. And in the end, you need to find one which resonates with how your brain works. This one does for me, and I can only say people give it a try and see if it resonates for you. Mm-hmm. It's all I can do, really.
Yeah, I ended up, I don't use a client, I work in Terminal, but I build a whole bunch of different aliases that combine my workflow. So I only have to type a few words and boop, I get this combination of things. But these clients are amazing for the ability to quickly do the things like we're seeing you do right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I do a lot on the client, but I prefer GUIs still over clients. And especially a GUI like this. One of the great things also about Git Extend, they use the exact same terminology as the client uses.
Yeah.
So when we talk, even though you use the client, the command line, and I use a GUI, we talk the same language.
That's right.
In a lot of cases, when there's a GUI,
they change. Yeah.
Yeah, they change the language, which makes the conversation difficult.
Right.
Which is not what's happening here. And they also show, and I should be able to show that. But basically, and you can see that when we do the next commit again, they will literally show you when I do the commit what the command line command is that what's being used.
Oh, pretty cool.
Even if I'm using, or like even if Tonya, for instance, would want to replicate what I was doing, she could copy what I show, what my Git client, my GUI is showing on screen, and get the same result.
That's right. And guess what? I do that from time to time. And sometimes I'll go build a little script for it because, again, I use different aliases and build little scripts around things so that I only have to do single types of movements to get stuff done. But yeah. It's interesting to see everybody's different workflows and how you can kind of take pieces of different things to make your workflow work for you, whatever your workflow is, right? So her workflow works for her. We tweak it. I tweak something a little bit differently. You guys are going to have something different too. You don't have to follow exactly our workflows. You have to have one that works for you, makes you more productive.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong here. There's just know that there's options.
Yeah.
And the option which works for you.
That's right. It's like I hear all the time when I teach, folks will say, well, I have to use this editor because so-and-so uses this editor. It's like, yeah, but switching editors really breaks your workflow because there's an onboarding process. So what's the reason that you're switching and using different tools? If it's because that one's better and your other workflow is broken, great, but not just switch it just to switch it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's similar. Like certain companies will say, oh, when you come to work here, you get a Mac and you get it with this editor. And it's like, sorry, but I prefer a different OS like Linux or in my case, Windows. If the company wants their developers to be the most productive, they should make sure the developers have the tooling which will make them most productive
for them,
and not the other way around.
Yes, 100% agree.
It does help as if you're a developer who can work in different environments, and
that's great.
I can.
Yeah,
but that shouldn't be. I mean, your time to being productive as a new hire for a company will be much longer if you also need to learn new tooling.
Yeah, your hands and your brain get used to it. Yeah,
I mean, the expense for them to buy a different type of machine or buy a license for a different editor is much less than the salary they need to pay you to learn all that.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I agree with that. I had switched from using PHP Storm and switched to Visual Code. Just one, because so many people asked me, can you start teaching us how to use it? So I went through the pain of resetting everything up, changing all of the keystroke mappings and so on so that it would work for me. Because once you get your workflow done, you don't even have to think. Boom, 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 boom. Wait a minute, this one doesn't do boom, boom, boom. It goes the opposite way or something completely different, and now you're stuck. Wait, how do I do that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's even small things like that. The code highlighting uses different colors. Even something as small as that can be confusing.
As small as that, right. That's why I always try to configure all that stuff to keep it the same.
Yeah. And that means you need to spend some time configuring stuff.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it works for you. And in that sense, again, Git extensions, they use similar color scheme for the color highlighting they use in the editor and the div from what my preferred color scheme anyway. So it's very similar. Yeah. So for me, it clicks whether I'm in my editor or in the Git extensions editor, my brain doesn't have to switch between the color height for the color highlight.
And that's important because anything that makes you stop and go, wait, is taking time away from you it just broke your focus on what you're working on. So you don't want those breaks in those types of things, right? You want to keep working and stay focused. So those types of things of having colors having your keystrokes be the same, whatever tools that you're using, you want those to augment and work for you. I always say, don't work for the tools, make the tools work for you, period. Yeah.
Hey, that's actually the title of one of my talks. I have a talk called Don't Work for PHPCS, Make PHPCS Work for You. Have a look at Speaker Deck.
See, I didn't even know that. It's amazing. You and I just think alike. Yeah.
You can find the slide deck of that talk there. And it's basically an introduction of, everything you can do with PHP Code Sniffer and a lot of the features which are lesser known, or how to configure it correctly, how to get started, or even, if you already have started, how to get better at it.
Yeah. I was just pulling up Speaker Deck and seeing, I'll come back to that later and see if I can find it. But anyway.
I can pull it up.
I always say you'll find it so much faster.
.com JRF.
Yeah.
And let's see.
Which one is it?
Here, it's on the first page. The last time I gave it was at PHPConf in Turkey.
Oh, don't work for. Oh, okay. Yep.
Don't work for PHPCS. Make PHPCS work for you.
There it is. There you go. Use that for all the tools you use. Make the tool work for you. That's what the tools are there for. Make your job easier, not harder. Anyway. Okay.
Right. Okay. So if you want to post a link to Speaker Deck in the chat notes, that might be helpful for people. There's more slide decks which might be helpful for people anyway. But yeah. To get back to what we were actually working on, instead of explaining things about tooling, which is still very useful. I'm going to refer these two lines. I'm not going to refer to top lines because that's a block linked, and I don't want to refer to the comment declaration bit. But we are going to add an assignment at the top here.
There we go. I just shared that link, by the way. So, all right.
It says patch failed to apply, so we'll find out if it actually did or didn't. We need line 390 approximately. Yep. Oh, sorry, I closed that and I shouldn't have closed that.
Oopsie. Yeah, so basically looks like just about everything in this particular commit, we're doing the same task here. Putting the assignment and the comment and reverting the changes within the code.
Yeah, I think I need to. I think I got a crash of Git extensions again. Sorry.
Look away, everybody. Look away.
Yeah, you didn't see that happen. the thing is, even if it does crash, it's not as if I lose any work. So
yeah.
We were at this third file, and I'm just gonna open the editor again, line 390 approximately. Yeah, and the original name was post. So post is item. New line for readability. I'm gonna add the comments. I'm gonna change it to post here, and it did actually, if you can see the highlighting, it did actually refer those other lines correctly.
Yep.
It was just that first one I needed to
Perfect.
do. So this one is done.
Okay, next.
Next. Yeah, okay, we're gonna add it again
Same
here
thing.
at the top, 4003. So that is, what was the original name? Blog. Item. And I didn't do the refer this time. I should have done that before.
Yep.
But I can code highlight. So if I click on item, it will highlight.
You can find them all. And we'll double check.
There's no item left.
Yep.
Okay, so we're good.
Next.
Next. Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah, I am going to try and refer those lines now. Whether it has worked or not, we'll see in a minute. 511. Okay, that is team is item.
Item.
There is.
Oh, okay. Do an alignment.
Just not there, and I need the comment, and as in this case it's an assignment block, I need to align the equals factor. So I think that one is done now as well. Yeah. Next, same thing.
Same thing. Wow, consistency in this one at least.
Yeah.
See if you can revert it first. Oh no, we're already in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
That's okay. This one was user.
Actually, let's do that.
Okay.
And see if it works. Okay. Damn, I closed it again. We were at user. User. Okay, so I'm gonna open the editor again. Go
line
to
233. It's a user. User is item.
Is item. I'm gonna add the comments. I am. Fine. Yeah, I think so. That should. Be new. Okay.
That should be the only one, but check item, make sure that it's nowhere else. Yep, it's fine.
Yep, we're done. Next.
We did do the assignment in this one.
Yep. So here is just adding the comments on line 978. Go 978. Grab the comment and just add it.
There you go.
We're done.
Yep.
Then the next one.
Same thing. Revert first.
Yeah, refreshed. Yep. Okay, and it's line 370 approximately. Okay. We want to
tag
is item. We want, where are we?
You want the comment.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like just the one instance.
Yeah, the one here at the top, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, everything else looks done.
And that's it for this commit.
Okay, so in that case, let's just do the CBF again. And as I did a lot of new line things. Let's just run CS as well.
Okay, good.
And I don't see anything here which are things which I introduced and which are relevant for what we've been working on. So I'm not going to fix new things.
Nope.
Sorry, existing things. Why do I keep clicking close? I just closed my command line.
You're being very consistent today. I consistently keep closing things.
Yeah, I must be tired. Okay, I'm going to close the div. That's what I did want to close. Then I'm going to go and commit. Let's have a look through what we did. We referred to those lines and added the assignment and the comment. Referred to those lines, added the assignment and the comments.
Correct.
And you can see, you might think like, hang on, but didn't we just check all that? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we want to double check. Yep.
Yeah. I'd rather double check than have to redo it again later.
Absolutely. Okay, that one's right.
Okay.
Item, blog. Yep, that one's right. And the comments, yes. Comment, we did an alignment and reverted the changes. Theme, yep.
That all looks good.
Comment, did an assignment, reverted, yep.
Just added the comments.
Just add the comments, same thing with comment, assignment, revert, yep.
Yeah. Okay, so in that case, add to, and in this case, it's column CB. Committed, and we can move to the next commit, which is row actions. So if in here we can just go forward in the commits in GitHub as well, if you want to follow along. But we're going to be looking at the Git client to actually doing the work. In this case, there is an assignment, so we're just going to add the comment.
Comment. Right.
Yep.
Yep.
On line 675.
Yes.
Copy the comments. Yeah, that should do the trick.
Okay, next. Let's see. Yep. Again, comment.
Yep. Go 327. Here we go. I'm done.
Okay, next.
And yeah. The reason let me quickly go back. The reason why I was here looking at that was it creates edit link from link straight after, and I was checking if link was actually being used later in the function.
Right, and it is.
Because otherwise we could have removed that assignment.
Exactly.
That adds link is edit link. Okay. Here we need to do the assignment at the top.
Correct.
Even though it's a very small function, it's only those lines, I still think this probably should get the assignment.
I agree as well. Yep.
Okay, so...
Yeah, item there in that context, as you're looking down on that last line, doesn't give you a meaning. So yeah, I think it would be better to have the assignment.
Okay, so the original name was post. Item, and then...
Do you want to do that there, or do you want to be consistent with the other ones, which was we did it after the guard clause?
You're right, and I'm going to change that. This is why it's wonderful doing these kind of things together.
Yeah.
Because you actually catch those things.
Keep it consistent.
Yeah. Here we go.
Now, folks, you might be wondering, why are we doing it that way? Why not just put it at the top? The reason is because that particular variable is not even going to be used until you get past that guard clause. So if it bails out, there's no reason to waste the time in processing in memory to make that assignment.
Yeah. And I mean, realistically, we could even choose to make this a multi-line function call and annotate it in both cases inline, because these two are one-time use variables.
They are. I'm actually looking at it too, going, we're building up by calling a function to get a variable back to then inject it into another along there. So as long as they're, as long as their types and everything match, great. But that sure is confusing for some folks when they see that compound of function call inside of another function call.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things which might really become problematic with PHP 8.1.
That's what I'm thinking.
Row actions might return a type which isn't expected by row actions. In PHP 8.1, we might start getting deprecation notices for
That's why I'm looking at this going, in my opinion, it's too much of a cognitive load right now, and it could be problematic when we get into 8.1, and we don't really need to do a variable assignments just to stick them inside of that method call. So why don't we just instead refactor this a little bit?
Yeah, but what does row actions do, and what does it expect in parameter?
Yeah, let's look.
So let's, because then we do need descriptive names, of course. I want generic row action. Yeah. It expects an array of strings with actions.
Yep.
So actions is this one. Then I'm going to make that a multi-line function call.
It'll make sense what we're doing here in just a minute for everybody.
And then I'm going to replace a title with that. I'm going to replace post with item. Remove those two variable assignments because they're absolutely useless. Replace that function call with actions.
There you go.
And then item gets a comment which says that it's an
attachment being acted on. Isn't that a post?
Yeah. It's a WP post object for an attachment.
Right.
And then again, C track 515553. And then I can remove this block.
Yep.
Now, to be honest, I think this makes this function more descriptive, more readable.
I agree.
And comments should only be there if they actually add value. And just adding that extra assignment with the comment, well, it's only one-time use variable. This to me feels like more descriptive code.
Well, and we also potentially fixed a problem when we get into 8.1 as well. We reduce the cognitive load that's going to happen when you read this, when you see, wait, I have this being in just what is going on. So to me, this is much more readable and understandable.
Yeah, we didn't actually fix anything for 8.1, but we did set it up that if this would be problematic for 8.1, it will be easier to fix.
There you go. Yes.
If actions would, for whatever reason, return null, for instance,
we can deal with that.
Then we can just add an if statement condition here, checking for that and
bail out or
returning something else.
Right.
Instead of doing this
Correct.
return. Yeah. It'll be easier to add that extra guard clause
later.
if needs to be later.
Right, which we don't want to do that now, everybody, because that would be outside the scope of what we're working on today. But by doing this, we could get rid, we needed to make either a variable assignment or do it as we just did here. By breaking it apart, it made a lot more sense to do it like this. We got rid of those variables, and it's still within the scope of the work that we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Right, next. Okay, here we're simple assignment again. So
same thing, copy.
And this is a long function, so the comment makes sense to add. So, yeah. Same thing here.
Yeah, line 504. Ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the other commits may have made changes in these same classes, but for other functions. So that's why some of the line numbers aren't precise. In this case, again, just add the comment.
Add the comment. That's on 1413-ish.
It's actually probably the fact that we added comments in some of the previous commits.
Up above, yeah.
Or is why the line numbers are off. Okay, and here again, it's add the comments as well.
Yes, and that's the last one for that one.
Yeah. So let's have a look.
The kids are having fun around you there.
Close the window if they're getting too
loud.
No,
they're not. They're not. I chuckle listening to the kids being silly out there in the garden area.
Okay, so this is correct. I just want to check the white space again for PHP CS. And do I still have that command here? No, I probably have to type it in again.
Because you closed it down.
Yeah, silly me. Filter is I used git modified before, but I've actually staged the files now. So I'm gonna use git staged, and I'm gonna do the PHP CS again first to make sure I get the right sniff names.
And there's
so PHP CBF sniffs is that one, and then we also use the generic white space disallow space indent one, which doesn't trigger yet, but will trigger if I add the other sniff, if I let that other sniff out fix. So, and it is fixing. So let's go back to the commit window. Yes, it doesn't actually show a difference. It's just the line endings going from Windows to Linux. And we can do an add to again.
There we go.
What's the function name?
Handle row actions.
All right. Handle row actions. Commit.
Okay. Yahoo! Next.
Yahoo! Walker start EL.
Yep. Start EL now. Okay.
The first one is definitely just an assignment on line 72.
Correct.
Just add the comments. Right. Next one.
Same thing. Add the comment.
Yeah, I'm just looking why. Okay, there is still a rename going on. There is an assignment at the top, but there's also rename going on because it did say item, and we made it a more descriptive menu item last time.
Yes, we did.
I'm going to leave all those other renames in place because menu item is more descriptive.
Yes, it is.
And I just need to add the comment still.
Yeah, you're going to find that pattern repeats in the next one too.
Yeah. So again, just edit it. Line 60 and add the comments.
Next one as well.
Yep. These are all at the top of the file. I don't need to do searches.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Okay. But actually, I'm just realizing now when I had to do the extra indent, like the comment alignment has been perfect for nearly all of them so far.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I've not had to do much indent changes of that copy paste comment.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking ahead. It looks like all of these are just putting we did add the assignment in there just to make it more clear. So
Yeah. Makes our life easier for this time because
yeah,
you can just add the comments. And I do agree. It makes sense to add these comments, even if for no other reason than to prevent people from changing it back.
absolutely.
Okay, what is... Okay, yeah, we used a more descriptive menu item here. So line 128. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, again, just add the comments. And again, just add the comments. Hey. Oh, that's because it's an empty function. Yeah, we're not going to change it for an empty function.
No, I was just looking at that going, wait a minute. Oh, duh. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the parent, it's the parent class.
Yep. Yep.
So
Okay.
let's run PHP CBF again. And now I'm going to go to Git modified because these changes haven't been staged yet. So if I now go to commit, they should all be fine. Yeah, that's to start EL. Commit. The next one was also start EL.
Yep. It's dealing with that last optional parameter.
And in this case, current object ID is actually more descriptive than ID, and
correct.
No reassignments were done at the top. So we don't actually need to leave a comment because this is just more descriptive. And I'm just going through them to verify that that holds true for all of them. Yeah, current object ID and current page. And I mean, it's still a page ID, so and not the actual page. So I think current object ID
I think this one's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're not going to change anything here.
Nothing there, right? That one's so much more descriptive now, so that's a better change. Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. Here, yeah, the variable is actually not used in the function in this first one.
Or the second one.
Or the third. No, in the third it's actually used.
Yes.
So in the third, do the assignment, because comment is more descriptive than data object. And as, yeah, but it's also only used once, I think, in the function, and the function is small. Should we pull that multi-line function apart to, that function call apart to become multi-line and add a comment instead?
I'm just looking through.
Inline.
Yeah, currently it's only used once. The method itself is longer. The only thing I wonder about is if in the future it gets used again. Yeah.
It's not much longer.
It's not much longer, but that would be the only thing I would be thinking about with it. It's kind of buried in here. I think it's fine just to do the multi-line.
Okay, so in that case, we're gonna edit the file and go to line 222. Good. Hey, I'm so used with another editor that I have to remove the space then, and here it's automatically being removed. Okay, so data object needs a comment because that is the current comment object.
Yep.
C track 5155.
553. There you go. All right.
Yeah, this should do it.
I think so. I think that's fine.
If it's going to be reused at a later point,
then the assignment can happen.
Yeah, and I mean, let's also, what we can do is just have a quick look at the history of this file.
That's where I was going to go next. Let's look at that history and see.
I don't think this is a method which is changed very often.
I have a feeling it hasn't changed in years, which in that case, it's unlikely to change.
Yeah. Okay, so if I look at the blames, aside from the changes I've now made,
Yep.
2015 is the last
2017.
time this method was touched.
Yeah, long time ago.
The commit before, yeah, all of it is 2015 except for a strict comparison here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, coding standards here. So yeah, no.
No. And honestly, the code that's below this particular conditional block is very unlikely to change. The only thing that might change would be how the call user func is being done, something in there, but I doubt it. So I think we're fine sticking with what we've got. Deal with it right where it's used.
What might change, but that's again very much outside the scope of this ticket. What might change at some point might be the use of the output buffering functions here.
Yes.
Because output buffering in the context of WordPress is seriously something I would recommend against. If you want to read the complete reasoning, there is a ticket in WordPress coding standards where I'm proposing to add a sniff to forbid use of it. The problem is that depending on how output buffering is closed and with hooks opening and closing, etc., with plugins, basically output buffers are being nested. So you open the output buffer, and then another output buffer can be nested inside, and another one, and another one. If one of the plugins or WordPress core at some point does calls one of the output buffering functions which closes the complete output buffering, then one of the other functions which is still expecting output might break.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with nesting with output buffers makes, I mean, a use like this where it's isolated, where the start and the end is within one function, would seem okay, except what if the function being called here for end callback doesn't ob get clean?
That's right. Or somewhere in its stack. So if it's calling something else in its stack, calls a clean. Yeah, and I've seen that happen. So yes, that is a real problem.
This is something which I do think we need to do a complete review, both of core as well as add a sniff in WordPress CS, to very, very strongly recommend against using anything to do with output buffering. There are other solutions and you should use them.
Is there a ticket open for that yet? For doing an audit on that?
I can pull up the ticket in the WordPress coding standards where I do actually explain it.
Yeah, I was just curious if there was one in core.
Well, then you can...
We can use that to reference, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I was helping.
Yeah. We're definitely helping. I'm typing. Yeah, I opened a new browser session, and it doesn't have my history, so it doesn't just do the type ahead kind
Like
of
we
thing.
were talking about before too. We like to open up different sessions, different profiles.
Yeah, but I think that was outside of the stream, so people might get confused if we say that now, because they didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the ticket in WordPress CS 1422. It explains in detail why we need to fix this and what needs to be done.
Just a second. Leave that open for me because I'm typing it out. Because I know darn well I'm going to go forward and say, wait a minute, we need to deal with this at some point. So I want to get it into our backlog. So folks know we have a backlog that we keep track of some of these things for us to work on. Okay. Issues, and that's one. Wow, what did I just do? Oh, darn it all. See? I'm fat finger and erase it.
I mean, we could even just open a cursory track ticket, which will enhance later with more information, but which just references this ticket in WordPress CS to explain why a review needs to be done and to make sure that it's in the track workflow as a blessed task, because it is something which should be a blessed task.
Yes. I'm adding it into the chat now for folks too. So there we go. It's in the chat now.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's get back to what we're working on here. And I've got that pulled open. We'll get that in the backlog. And then, yeah, we could open a ticket, but let's stay focused on where we're at. Get this puppy done.
Let's finish this first. But yeah, I'm leaving this open for the time being anyway, so we can come back to it.
I've got it open too in mine, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So we were still working on NTL. We discussed the output buffering and why that might still change, but other than that, this function is not a function which typically will get much changes over time, so we're fine.
Yeah, so doing the multi-line and adding the comment is completely appropriate there. Yep.
Here the parameter is not
used, and the next one is an empty parent.
Next one as well. So in this case, I can just commit the one change, but I do need to run CBF again.
Correct.
Just to make sure it's clean. And you might wonder, why am I not running PHP CBF completely? Well, on the one hand, I'm not fixing things which are outside the scope of this ticket. On the other hand, I write most of the standards, so I actually know that the code I'm adding here is, the chances of me introducing other issues than these white space issues are slim. It happens, but
slim.
Probably not so much. And that's not arrogance, that's just reality.
That's just...
Sorry. So, next.
Okay, now we go to feedback. All right, let's see what we got.
Yeah, okay, we actually made that one more descriptive by calling it feedback instead of
correct
data. So I don't think we need to put any comment there because it's more descriptive.
Correct, I agree.
So let's close it and be done with it.
Yeah, I'm just flipping through all of them. Yep, they're all fine. All right, next.
This was just error or errors. Okay, sorry, no, I'm not going to do anything.
Nothing there.
Yeah.
Sanitize.
Sanitize.
Is value. Return.
Value versus menu item value. Okay. The assignment is actually already being done, except it used to be an array merge back to the original variable, and now it uses the parameter name to a new variable, and everything above it is just validation.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I don't think this one needs it.
Yeah, I think we discussed it last time, and yeah, we don't need to have an extra
because where it's actually being used, it's it's already doing an assignment to it after it does that array merge. The rest of it is just checking and bailing out. So, yeah.
Yeah. So nothing to do here.
Nope, that one's done. Next.
Yeah.
If only all of them were that way, right? We can just go next. Let's see. This next one, we go to value.
CSS versus value.
Is it used anywhere else? No, it's only used to check. Oh, well, we are setting the value to empty if it's empty or an empty string.
But it actually says update custom CSS post.
Yeah, it tells you what it's doing.
Yeah, so I don't think CSS is more descriptive than value in this case.
I don't think it is either, and I don't necessarily think that your mind would go there to think that I want to change that back to CSS. Do you?
No.
And at the top, notice it says the input value. It doesn't say CSS, input value. So value here, I think, is almost more descriptive in some ways. Yep.
I think we're just going to leave this one.
I think that one we leave.
If someone really trips over it, we can discuss.
Yeah.
And then I would still propose adding an inline comment, a trailing comment.
Yeah.
Instead of doing an assignment.
I agree with you on that one. So
should we just add that trailing comment just in case? No. It really doesn't.
No, I don't think so in this case. When I read this, I think value is more descriptive in my brain anyway. So, yeah, we're receiving some value. It might be a CSS.
Yeah, we're updating a setting from the customizer, and we're updating it with this value.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think this one's fine. Yep.
Yep. Validate. And in this case, it's similar.
It's similar, yeah.
It validates CSS.
Still, it's a string coming in, a value coming into you. You're processing it. You're running through and putting it through there. Yeah,
I would be more tempted to improve the doc block, the first line description of the doc block, than to actually change something in the function.
I think the function itself is fine. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost agreeing with you there as to improve that first line.
Open it up and go to that function. Validate received value for being valid CSS.
There it is. Because if folks aren't sure what we're talking about, how do you know it's CSS coming in? It literally says it's an input string coming, it's a value coming in, and then it's being validated. Is this CSS, right? So value, I think, is the right name for this one. And then improving what this function is doing helps with that readability. Yep, I agree.
In improving the description of what the function is doing.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think we're going to commit that. Well, no, we do need.
Yeah, you got to commit that one. Yep. Whoops.
Add to validate. And then we're going to the next one.
And the next one, we're doing assignments for all of them.
That's the comment. Let me copy paste the comment. And the first one is on line 711 or approximately. So here. And that comment is added. Next. Line
405-ish.
Yep. Next, same thing, and that's
118.
118, done. Next.
Let's see, same thing, 245.
Yo, okay, 245. Yeah.
Okay, the next one will be on 1038.
And why is there a blank line at the top of that function?
Yeah, it was there previously, but now you're adding a comment, so you can go ahead and remove
so I'm
it.
just replacing the blank line with the comments.
Yep.
Next, again, same thing.
Same thing. You replace that blank line too.
There's no blank line here.
I'm on a different one. Sorry.
Where are we? Oh, hang on. Right, done. Then, okay, yeah, that's the one you meant, probably.
Yep.
You were already skipping ahead.
I skipped ahead on you, darn it.
And I'm removing the blank line. Okay. Post types.
Next.
177. Revision 543.
Yep.
Yep. Added the comment as well.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Here we didn't do that.
Here we didn't. We should.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small function.
It is small, but it's used more than once.
Yeah. So go 194. When is the first time it's being used?
It's used after that guard clause there.
Yeah, we probably should add it here. So it was. Oh, actually, no. No, sorry. Look. It's gone from ID to item.
Yeah, right.
This doesn't make any sense. Assigning item to ID because neither of which is more descriptive.
Nope.
They're equally nondescript.
Yep, you're right.
So no, I'm not adding it, and I'm not doing it in assignments. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's why we discuss these things.
Yeah.
The next one we are doing an assignment, so comments.
And again, 213. And again, and we're removing a blank line again as well.
Replacing.
Yeah.
And that's it for this one.
Yep. Let's commit this. Well, let's do the CBF first.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it's tidy. There we go. Right. We've added the comment, added the comment, added the comments. Replace the blank line. Yeah. Again. Yeah. All fine.
Yep.
That's to prepare item for response. Good. We're nearly there.
Almost getting there.
More descriptive. I'm not gonna bother.
Next. Yep. Next.
Reassignment. So yes, we're gonna add the comment.
And there's two instances of we've done it, so that one's pretty easy too. Yep.
Oops. Let me make sure I have the comments instead of the name of the function. Right. Added the comments, and then the other one does the same thing. So
yep, same thing.
Just add the comments. Okay. CBF again, just to be sure. And add to. Done. Then the next one, get max number of pages. We're on the last two commits. Nearly through.
Almost done.
Yeah, we're doing a reassignment here.
Comment.
Well,
let's scroll down.
Comment again. Let's edit the file. Here we go. And we're doing the same thing in the other one.
Yes.
Come
and
on,
I rechecked that reassignment is good too, just for the context and the method. But yeah. Okay.
And that's the great thing about doing this together, because while I'm editing, you're looking through the commit and doing a second or third review
Right.
of what was done, just to be on the safe side and
Right.
make sure we're okay.
Yeah, so folks, if you get the opportunity to pair program with people, you want to take that, because you're going to see different things, and having a person also to debate things with, what do we want to do here, really helps, because one can surface something that then the other goes, well, how about this? And before you know it, you get something that's even better that comes out. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay, then we're at the last commit, and
Let's see.
I'm not going to add comments.
Well, I think what we've got in there is even better. Yep, that one's good.
Well, the thing is, for widget updates, it's a very typical pattern.
It is.
To first take the old instance and assign it to instance, and then validate each value and add it to the new value before updating.
Yeah.
So this is just a very common pattern.
Yep.
And doesn't invite people to rename anyway.
I don't think so either. I mean, if you've been around the widgets long enough, you see this. So yeah, this one's fine.
Okay, so now let's see. I do still have something which needed committing by the looks of it. Let's just do CBF.
Okay.
And let's check what this was. Oh, this was from the get number pages. And is this one also from get number pages then? Yes. Okay, add to get max number pages. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to do a rebase.
Here we go. Everybody pay attention.
Well, let's do it in 2 steps, because I've made changes in a number of files. And I've made those changes like for single row and column default, etc. I've often made changes to the same file multiple times. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that when I do the rebase, I'm not going to get conflicts. So I'm just going to do a quick check for that first. I'm going to do an interactive rebase. And I'm just going to reorder all the commits. So I'm not actually going to do the squashing yet. I'm just going to rebase with a different order. And you can see me adding the add to commits straight after the commits to which they apply. Mm-hmm. This will make sure that if this goes through correctly, then I can do the fix-ups cleanly. If this gives me conflicts, then we can break it off and do it in a slightly different way. Correct. I don't expect conflicts, by the way, but that's because we went commit by commit, and I committed in between every step. Mm-hmm. So because I did that, this rebase should work fine.
Correct.
But only because we did it so conscientiously. So, I do get conflicts.
Whoa.
Interesting. So, let's look at the conflicts. Okay. I need to open this in. I move it to the different window. It actually said that was an imaginary conflict, so 0 conflicts in the end. This diff, kdiff, and it's really, really old diff program, but it's still better than the diff which you get from Git itself. And yeah, it keeps opening on my other screen, but it also keeps saying that in reality it has 0 conflicts. So I'm just saving the files. Because that's what old Git wants, basically. that it's saved and verified that there's no real conflict. And it's probably going to do that a couple more times then.
Yep.
The start EL was done twice. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know exactly why.
What?
Okay. It's because start EL had two conflicting parameters.
Yes.
And we changed that in two separate commits, and we now need to change the first commit. And obviously the second commit might conflict because of the doc block changes, the doc block realignment. Does that make sense? If
does.
Not, I'll just I'll show
it does for me, but you might want to show it for everybody. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can now see that basically this whole list is being reordered, and you can see all the in betweens. Mm-hmm. So if I look at this start EL, the first start EL, you can see that I've changed the alignment of the doc block here. Mm-hmm. And the second start EL changes that alignment again because we use current object ID. Mm-hmm. And that the white space differences here was what the conflict was. Mm-hmm. And the editor I used for the conflict resolution is better than the Git native one. So that solved it automatically. Mm-hmm. So if we look here, you will see no real change, no changes other than the changes we expected. If there were changes here other than the ones we expected, that is exactly why I did the rebase in 2 steps, because then we could have still called that. Mm-hmm. Well, if I'd done the fix up in one go, we wouldn't have been able to tell anymore.
Absolutely. So I hope that makes sense for everybody. If not, ask us too. So
yeah. So now I'm going to do the fix up. So I'm opening interactive rebase again. And now I'm just going to use the F for fix up and just squash in those commits without changing the commit message, which the original commit message, because the original commit message doesn't need changing because all we're doing is literally just fixing up something we did before, make it slightly better. Mm-hmm. The one thing I'm also going to do now is remove the stemmed del one, mm-hmm. because that was just a PHP-CS change to make my life easier. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to push that up to GitHub. So I'm saving this list, closing it, and you can see it doing. And what I mentioned earlier, this is exactly what I meant, where you can see that Git shows the exact command which you would use on the command line. And I was recently talking with some of the developers, and they were saying, why aren't you using this and that console? I might switch this soonish to use a console here, and you can actually see the console output. And I mean, basically, this is already the console output, but then you see it as it happens.
Yes.
So now we've got a clean branch again. So
there it is.
The proper commits, and each commit is all containing. It contains all the changes for that particular fix. So now I'm going to force push with lease this to the Git repository online. Well, actually to my fork, and then it will update the open PR.
Correct.
And then we can leave a comment in the track tickets to say that we've updated the commit and updated the branch and that it's ready for commit.
Yep. We'll let it run through and pass all of its checks, and once it's a green light, it should be ready.
Yeah. We'll leave that running for a moment. Shall I? Shall I just leave a comment already?
Yeah, we can go ahead and let folks know what we've done here in this other PR. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so okay, so
and then I'll approve the PR and then come in and mark it for commit.
Excellent. So worked on this ticket today during our live stream session. Where can people find the link?
Oh, for the live stream session?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay. Can I just use
Hold it, please. It was in your Twitter. Remember, I put it in your Twitter.
Yeah, as I have that open, I can actually just copy it.
Yep.
Let's see, just in case people are interested, then they can have a look.
Absolutely.
We basically actioned all open remarks for GitHub PR, and what was the PR number? 6112. 6112. I'm not using a hash here because otherwise it would be a link to the track
ticket,
and that's not what we want. But we do want to link to the GitHub ticket, so I'm copying the link and adding it like this, using wiki formatting, which really screws with my brain because it's different from Markdown.
Does mine too. Yep.
Yeah. If the build passes, this should now be ready to commit. To summarize what we've done, where relevant, we've added an assignment at or near the top of the function back to the old variable name. In all cases where such reassignments were done previously and the newly added ones, we've added a comment explaining the reassignments with a reference to this ticket. In a few select cases where the variable would only be used once in the function, we've made the choice to once in the function, mostly in function calls. We've made the choice to change such function calls to multi-line and to explain things in trailing comments for the pass parameter. Does this make sense?
That makes sense to me. I'm going through and just doing another review just to make sure as it's running through all of its CI.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to fix that link to YouTube to not have to see.
There you go.
Just go straight there. Our live stream session like this.
There you go.
Yeah?
Yep.
Submit.
Now, while this is running, let's just have one last look at, which one is it? Hold on.
And I'm just looking at the keywords. Yeah, it needs docs because if other people are extending
that's correct.
Classes, they still need to be aware of that. So that's it actually needs a dev note. It doesn't need docs. The docs is what we've added.
Well, that's the docs, it will actually doc updates. It will need doc updates because they potentially are using different variable names.
Yeah, but is that what that keyword means?
I believe so, but let me look. Hold on.
Please I thought it meant that the patch needed docs.
No.
No, the needs codex is the codex needs to be updated. So
Hold
that
on, I'm looking. Let me look. Make.
Okay. Where are you? I know it's somewhere in the handbook, but
I'm looking
where?
it up here.
Yeah.
It's in the handbook under contribute track keywords. I'm going to drop it in for folks. Track keywords. Put that in there for folks. And I have to get this out of the way so I can see it. All right, so we're looking for needs docs. Inline common code is look. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're right. So that one.
Where was
let me
it? Sorry.
Let me load it on the screen for folks here.
Yeah, please. And for me as well, so I know where to look.
Not a problem. Here, let me make this bigger. Here's needs codex, here's need docs, so that we can see the difference between the two definitions.
What's the link? You're in the core handbook, and then what's the page?
Hold on one sec. I'll get you a copy of it. Is this a little bit bigger for you so you can see it?
Here. No, I can't. Sorry.
Okay, I put it into the live stream comments.
The chat wasn't showing a minute ago. Now I should be able to see it now. No. Don't you just love YouTube? I'm trying to copy from one browser to the next, except it doesn't allow me. So let's try this again.
Okay.
Yes. Now, you were talking people through it. You had it up on screen.
Yep. Here, I'll get rid of that now so that we can see. All right. So codex, needs codex means that, yes, we do need documentation in codex, right? Needs to be updated or expanded. Needs docs means inline documentation for the code is needed, right? So that what you were originally saying is correct. We do not need docs. Docs has now been taken care of. We do need codex. Yes.
And we do also need a dev note.
Yes, I agree.
For the release where this is going to go into, it needs a dev note.
Correct.
Which is a keyword which is lower down.
Yep. Here, let me go. Where is dev note? Just so folks can see.
I've already removed the has docs, and I'm going to add the needs dev note keyword.
And I've got the definition up on the screen for everybody so that they can see. Now, this dev note is something that gets published on the Make Core P2 so that it's published with the release so that people can see, oh, these are all the things that have changed that need to be brought out for folks. Okay.
The weird thing is I've changed 2 keywords, but it's not actually showing me that I've made changes. So I'm just going to submit changes and hope that it updates the keyword. Okay, yeah. Needs dev note added, needs docs removed.
Okay, good.
So this should be good to go.
We want to look at one more thing, and I want to get your opinion on it before we jump off of this. I had kind of alluded to this, and then some reason I lost my place. But the second commit, go to the second commit.
Okay, that is the column default one.
Right. In this case, notice that we didn't do a multi-line and then put that it relates to that ticket there. We did in other places where we...
Yeah.
Now, comment ID makes sense. Link ID makes sense. It's almost self-documenting by the parameter itself. Yeah. But
and the doc block. The reason why we didn't do it is because it's a basically one-line function, code-wise, which has a doc block at the top of the function and a doc block for the action, and in both it explains what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking to look. I'm looking to see how we did it in other places.
Third comment, it's like we're repeating ourselves.
Yeah, we are. That's why I just want to go back and just double check, just to make sure for consistency how we did it with the others when we did do a multi-line. Now I'm going backwards. Hold on. Go forwards. Go forwards.
Yeah, but where we did it for the others, it was normally not for a hook call, so it didn't have a hook doc block. In this case, it has a hook doc block straight above the actual code line.
Yeah, I'm just verifying that. Go on commit by commit just to make sure that we're consistent across the board here. Anything not to hold this up.
The only one where we did it was in MS Teams, because we removed that extra assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And in
I believe that's true too.
Where the doc block for the action was in another file.
Mm-hmm. That one, that looks good. Flipping through. Nothing there. That one's good.
Yeah, there is some inconsistency there. You're right. Mm-hmm. I see. If I look at the last few, that we've done it more in the last few ones than in the first few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of developed our approach after we'd gone past that one. That's why I was just seeing to make sure how consistent were we. No, that one's deeper down. That doesn't matter. Nope, that one's fine. I'm talking to myself.
And I'm looking at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're looking at the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Sorry I'm flipping the screen so fast for everybody who's watching what I'm doing here. But I'm just going through to make sure and double check the patterns that we used. They usually will jump right off the page to you when you're inconsistent. Do action, do action.
There is action. A little consistency.
And then here. But here, if the one I'm pointing at right now we added comments and did a multi-line because there is a method call in one instance and the other one does not have a property. So we gave more context around. So that one's different.
Yeah. And that's why it's
Yep. And the one below that is item ID, the parameters ID. Well, what ID does that relate to, right? Whereas in the ones above it, it said comment blah, right? As the property itself.
ID or, yeah.
Right. Okay, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
I'll take that back. I'll take that back. The very bottom one, look at the very bottom one. This one has term ID, and we did add the comment to that one. So we are inconsistent with that one.
We should remove it there.
Either remove it there or do the same thing to the top two.
I think we should remove it in the last one.
Let's do it.
Because term ID is clear enough.
I think term ID is very clear.
Yeah.
So we're being repetitive.
Yeah. And it has it in two places anyway already in that same commit. So let's look at the line number 650 approximately.
Switch back to your screen. There you go.
I do still think that up to points for readability, the multi-line is better.
I like the multi-line myself.
So let's leave it multi-line, but remove the comment.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree. Mostly when that very first argument that's being passed is long. Breaking it up clearly shows you how many things that you're passing in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 2, and it's the second commit, and I'm just gonna quickly do that interactive rebase. I'm not sure if you are sharing screen or I'm sharing screen.
You're sure. I got your screen up.
Okay. I just did a very generic atu comment now.
Yep. Well, it's only one thing, so.
I know it was the second commit.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to fix that one up.
And while you're doing that, I'll let you know I did go back through all the rest and everything else looks good. So this is the last thing.
You're wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're wonderful too.
I'm force pushing again. Right. Ha!
Hot diggity doggity.
And I mean, the fact that we needed 2 sessions after 8 months to do a complete revisit and review, and I think the original patch I created that in far less time.
Yeah, definitely.
So
there was a lot to this thing.
But this also shows why it's painful when tickets are left out so long, especially tickets which are so fundamental to multi-version PHP support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, at least now we have consensus from folks. The patch is ready to go. As soon as it passes everything again, we'll get approved, put it into the commit queue. Let's go.
Yeah, basically, as soon is Trunk open again already, or
yes.
not?
Yes, it is.
Okay, in that case, then yeah, let's get at least one person to say that they've looked at it, and then it should get committed fairly soon.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we could, but that's for next time, we could at some point also start actioning that other list. I mean, in this ticket, and that's also a bit painful, there were quite a few people saying, how can I help? So I posted that gist with the list of at least those parameters which need renaming, which use reserved keywords, and nobody else has added a ticket. And as this patch was already open, I didn't want to spend more time on it for it just to go stale.
Exactly.
So, but if this one gets committed, then we can have another look.
Next.
Yeah, go to the next step.
Yeah, I think that probably makes sense. Is let's make sure it gets committed first, so that we can deal with any issues that a core committer might have with it.
Yeah, but also then we can get the gist updated, because some of the reserved keywords have been taken out now.
Absolutely.
You don't have to look at those again.
And then folks can kind of see the patterns that are done if any contributors want to jump in and help out. So
correct.
So if you're listening now, please come join, help out. We'd be glad. If you need coaching, you need guidance, you need whatever, we're here to help too. So yes, please come work with us.
Yeah. Okay. So.
All right. So I think that's probably enough for today for everybody who's been watching us for this long. Thank you.
Have people been watching? I mean, not many people have been interacting.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean people haven't been watching or won't watch it afterwards.
Or they'll watch it later. That's kind of been our trend. We get a handful of folks who pop in and out, but then all of a sudden you'll get 150 different views afterwards. So yeah.
This is only our 3rd live stream. We're still building up reputation for doing it.
Actually, is it our 4th? Oh, it's our 3rd together. Yeah. So good. Well, I think that'd be good today. We'll go ahead and let all of you go, and we'll be back again. I'll post another schedule and get another one up when we're ready to go. And one thing that Juliette and I were talking about was that for the next one, when we post it, we'll let you know what we're going to be working on so that you know what to expect when you come in. And I see Christoph has come to join. Hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you? Nice to see you. You didn't miss it. You can watch it afterwards.
Yeah, watch it on demand. We're happy if this helps people.
Yep.
And we hope it serves a purpose in educating people as well.
Right.
As making WordPress better.
Absolutely. Well, plus the workflows that you shared can be great tips for people. So, okay, well, we hope to see you next time. Now, if you watch this later and you have questions, you can add comments and we'll come back, or you can also come in to Make Core and ping us too and just ask. Okay, so we're there to help.
Yep, excellent. Looking forward to next time.
Yeah, me
which
too.
well, we'll post in the Slack PHP channel when it is. We'll post on Twitter when that will be.
Right.
And that's probably going to be 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We'll post.
See y'all later.
Bye bye.